Weird.
We can't all make declarations of hatred at the same time. Hi, everybody.
There are dozens of us. Dozens!
你好中国比较吸纳我爱更尊重中石油上
Alson, help me up onto his casket so I can dance on it.
I don't care.
But how did you ever find us?
Oh, easy. We just read the screenplay you left us.
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
I'll have you.
Everything is sexist, everything is racist, everything is homophobic, and you have to point it all out.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Huh? Zappuccino.
All right, it is Thursday night in Tooney Town, and that can only mean one thing. It is time for the final time in the year 2024 for Tooney Talk TV. Folks, my name is Marvin, and I am the Movie Monster, and we are excited for another jam-packed show here today in this week that I like to call the Twilight Zone, because the week between Christmas and New Year's, I mean, everybody's just kind of off. Nobody really wants to do anything. They just want to sit back and be entertained. And that is what we are here to do tonight. But I can't do it alone. I need my all-star panel here by my side. And as always, folks, that starts with the man, the myth, the legend, back by popular demand and black by popular demand, the one and only Kevin Apollo.
I thought that was more of a matter of genetics. But I'm proud to be Tooney Town's
It was the demand of your
national
genetics.
treasure.
Yeah, it was the demand of your genetics. Oh, my goodness. Oh, good. How was your Christmas, my friend?
It was nice. My family spent the entire beginning of the week battling a stomach flu.
Yeah, violently ill, right? Your superior genetics kept you from getting sick.
That's right. I survived like Charlton Heston, the Omega Man. No zombie bastard gonna get me. And then they recovered just in time for Christmas, and it was fun watching the kids do their thing. And other than being up absurdly early, it was a nice, fun, mellow day.
Good.
I like to get sick out myself.
And folks, here to wish you all a Merry Trishmas is the one and only Trish. Do you have a wand? Is that your wand?
I did get something nerdy. I just wanted to show it while we were here.
Ooh,
My pretty little wand.
Is that a custom wand, or is that like...
No, but it's like some exclusive. It's supposed to be, I guess each house has one, and this is supposed to be Ravenclaw's diadem. Like, that's supposed to be the kind of abstract thing about it, because represent. I'm feeling nerdy with it today, so...
Okay, that makes sense.
Very cool.
It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
Not Leviosa.
But hi everybody.
Oh my goodness, guys, we are it has taken us some time to recoup from Christmas. I myself am currently just feeling the drag, the pull of that post-Christmas fatigue. I almost fell asleep because one of my presents was 2 new pillows, and they are very comfortable, and the second my head hits them I start to fall asleep. But it is not just the three of us tonight. We have a packed house here tonight, and we have to bring in from the land of the lost media himself, the one, the only, Mr. Nolan Thunder.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Nolan, I hope that
Everybody-
Santa Claus was good to you this year.
Oh no, I'm top of the naughty list. When I heard 2 brand new pillows, my mind went to other directions, and that's probably the reason why.
How dare
So,
How dare you?
so yeah, that's a lost dream. I heard that I heard the best Christmas joke. And I think you would appreciate this one. I saw a poll the other day. Would Shadow the Hedgehog be on the nice list or the naughty list? And someone said he is the ultimate nice form, and I'm like, okay, I can get behind that.
Well, it depends on what part of the movie you're in. Like, if you're in the part where he's trying to burn the earth, then maybe not. Like, maybe Santa might take a second look there, but that cat is just the biggest glory hound on the face of the planet. But someone who is not a glory hound, someone who is one of the most humble men that I know, folks, from the land of that Park Place, the one and only Mr. Martin Stone.
Hey guys, wow, that was really. Thank you very much, Marvin. That was really nice.
You're a very humble, down to earth, sensible person with a razor sharp wit. It's one of the reasons why you're here.
Thank you. That made my year.
I very much enjoyed that article you wrote on that Park Place that we released on Christmas Day about Christmas music and why it's sad.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I had a lot of fun writing that article. It's odd to have fun writing about sad songs, but you know.
Yeah, well, the saddest Christmas song is that Christmas Shoes song.
And, that song is so
nobody
sad.
ever needs to hear that. Yeah, that's the reason I don't listen to Christmas music on terrestrial radio. I just listen to Spotify playlists now because I can edit that song out. But guys, we're not done.
Do they know it's Christmas or last Christmas is the reason I don't listen to terrestrial radio?
Yeah. Guys, also joining us this week, as always, you know him, you love him. He is the lore master himself. He is Lorne Connor. Lorne!
Hey, everybody.
Were you holding for us to do the norm yell?
It's become kind of a tradition, but you know, it's like I can take it or leave it.
I'm glad you did, because it's definitely our thing. Lauren, how was your Christmas? Did you have a good one?
It was all right. It was a little understated this year, but I think everything went off fine. Had a good time. I had my son, which is great, although he is sleeping over with a friend tonight. So you guys have got to babysit me, I guess.
Yeah, well, I'll gladly take that on, guys. Lauren is always on our nice list. So I want to hear, before we dive into the news, what you guys got this year. If it was anything good, I will tell you guys right away. I got a new Keurig coffee maker, one of the very good ones. That was from Mother and Father Monster. They shipped that over. Nice. Very, very good one. And then I got from Mrs. Movie Monster, I got the Red Ranger's sword from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which is a thing I've wanted for forever. I also got new pillows. I got something. Oh, and a mug warmer for my desk that keeps coffee mugs warm because long hours spent here writing. But she got everything from the movie Wicked because she's obsessed, and she also got a Universal Orlando annual pass. So,
ooh.
Kevin Apollo, anything good this year?
Oh, I got my indie game.
That's a gift from you to you.
Yes,
Great Circle.
Yeah,
we got to
you
talk.
inspired me to track down the premium collector's edition. So I did.
You just wanted the globe.
I did, but I thought I saw Lauren open his. I was like, I want one, and I made sure I got one.
We got to talk. I've made it farther in the game, so I have some more insights.
Have you started playing
the download.
Okay.
Just started the download, like before we went on the air.
I'm so excited you've got it. I'm anxious to see what you think.
Nolan, where'd you get any fun gaming stuff?
Usually about every year I have something like really crazy or something that came out of Japan or something like that. Like my family always goes above and beyond every Christmas, no matter how old I am. But this year we decided to take a little bit of a different approach with it. me and my mother were doing some events to kind of spread Christmas out. So actually last Tuesday, we actually went to a shopping center in the mall and we did some shopping together. We just like pick out what you want and all that. A lot more of, kind of the wardrobe side of things, but while not necessarily nerdy, if anyone here is into sports or anything like that, she got me tickets to the Colts game at the very end of the year. So that will be in January.
Nice.
So that'll be a good time or really bad, depending on how the season goes. But we'll see.
Go either way.
Fantastic. What about you, Trish? We know that you got the we know that you got the wand.
That's
so
right.
was there anything else? Anything else to report?
I mean, it's more about just being with people for me. So, I got some cute things, but nothing that's like particularly exciting to tell everybody. You know what I mean?
Okay. What about you, Martin? Anything good, or was it mostly just the joy of giving to you kids?
It's the joy of giving to my kids, but they each went to the holiday shop at their school, and they got me little things from there.
Oh, I remember doing that as a kid. Yeah. We always used to have the holiday boot. We called it the holiday boutique.
Ooh.
And
I think my kids' school calls it the Winter Wonderland.
Oh. All right. What about you, Lauren? Anything good this year?
I had fun giving gifts this year, but I did get something cool from my son. Give me just a minute and I'll grab it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of gifts, I was just going to say, you and Kumia gifted one Tooney Town TV membership. That's a fantastic gift. That's a great thing to get, and I believe it was got by Ryan D.
Ooh.
So congratulations to Ryan D there. What do you got, Lauren?
Oh,
that's cool. Is that concept art? Or
no, this was something that I think was made by an independent artist, and he found them on Etsy and thought that I would like it, so he got it for me.
Oh, that's really cool. I like that a lot. I really like that a lot.
Yep, it's really cool.
All right, let's see what else we've got brewing in the chat here. John Williams for $4.99 said Sonic 3 was fantastic. Most of my predictions of what was going to get simplified was true. Mostly no BioLizard. Arc was just the canon itself. Yes. I was hoping against hope for the BioLizard. He did make an appearance. If you watch closely when they're watching the monster movie on the TV, the monster in it is the BioLizard, I believe. So no BioLizard or Final Hazard, but it was great. We'll talk about it in a minute. I want to give my full thoughts on the movie. Kev, have you seen it yet?
No, we were gonna go, and then everybody decided to
get sick, right?
Yeah.
All right, we'll have to avoid the spoilers
like
then.
South Park style, like full up.
Brian Griffin. Chef Eddie, remember for 1 month, says I was bad this year and I got Snow White tickets. Oh, that's worse than Cole. My goodness. And I gifted 5 Tooney Town TV memberships. So congratulations to our 5 new members. That's 6 for the night. Let's try to turn that chat green, guys. If you are feeling the giving gift of the holiday season, then gift some memberships. Give to your fellow Tooney Town TV residents and add to the community that is constantly growing here on YouTube. Let's see. There we go. I was just checking the private chat to make sure nobody needed anything urgently. Okay, guys, let's jump into our first story this week. You know what? It's time for me to hit my favorite easy target. I think it's time for Kevin to roll his eyes a little bit because I am going to attack Zack Snyder. David Ayer claps back at angry Snyderverse fans amid support for James Gunn's Superman trailer. This comes to us from That Park Place, written by myself, M. Montanaro. David Ayer is striking back at his own supporters after expressing support for James Gunn's new Superman trailer and the expanding DC universe the Guardians of the Galaxy director is trying to establish. This backlash comes from the same fan base that fervently clings to Zack Snyder's failed Snyderverse continuity and has been aggressively campaigning for Ayer's cut of the 2016 Suicide Squad. The Squad. Demonetized.
How dare you use adult words? Action required.
Action required. Aya himself supports the fan movement to bring his original cut of the film to life. However, in a moment very much akin to the monster that I have created has grown out of control, the overzealous fans clearly stepped over the line, eliciting a sharply worded response. Instead of fostering a collaborative environment, these fans are now portrayed as entitled detractors, undermining both Ayer and Gunn's efforts to advance the DC franchise. Now, days before Gunn released his highly anticipated Superman trailer, Ayer addressed his followers on social media, urging them to reconsider their aggressive campaign to push for his version of Suicide Squad at the expense of Gunn's projects. He said, I didn't realize James was dropping Creature Commandos when the last Ayer cut campaign hit. This new Superman trailer is dropping soon, and I know there's intentions of another campaign for my version of the squad. As filmmakers, I want to support other filmmakers. And he said, let me find the full quote. I'm excited to see the trailer. I have heard through the rumor mill it's pretty incredible. He further advised his supporters to stay far clear of Thursday for any campaigning, aiming to prevent their actions from overshadowing the release of Gunn's Superman trailer. This plea highlights the persistent pressure exerted by fans who seem more interested in personal agendas than in fostering a healthy cinematic universe. But many of Ayer's fans responded to this call for civility and respect with equal levels of respect back, agreeing to follow the director's wishes and voicing appreciation for his moral compass. Others did not. So disappointing to see this tweet. How much suckery are you going to do with to WB and Gunn? All the support we showed you, and you dot this. Love it.
How dot you?
Yes, how dot you? This is one of the kinder responses rejecting it. This is one of the only ones I was able to actually use in the article. It apparently upset the director enough that he responded directly to his supporters. He said, my lord, if supporting another filmmaker is so contentious, I'm just lost at this point. When I was a kid, I had a nightmare childhood. My best friends were comic books. They held me and gave me company when no one else did. And he said, I cannot effing wait to see James's trailer. Real talk. And I cannot wait to see his film. And absolutely, I'm sure he crushed it because that simple optimism of Superman is all over it. And the little kid in me needs that right now. Now, his candid support underscores a commitment to uplifting fellow creators, even at the expense of alienating a fan base that once championed his work. In response to the growing tension, Ayer acknowledged the challenges of navigating fan expectations. He said, I'm a bad guy for that. So be it. I do troll what I can control and can't what I can't. Gonna step back from this for a moment. Now, it was unclear what take a step back meant. But of course, the core of this conflict stems from Warner Brothers' COVID desperation-driven decision to release Zack Snyder's Justice League, a movie that has only empowered these fans to push their agendas further. By giving in to their demands, Warner Brothers inadvertently reinforced the notion that catering to an overzealous fan base is the path forward, thereby emboldening them to attack creators like Ayer and Gunn. And there is, Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor doing exactly what everyone kind of... Luthor, sorry. Jesse Eisenberg is Lex Luthor, doing exactly what everyone kind of expects him to do, what all the WB executives are probably doing. So, guys, this movement, this release the Ayer cut, from what I understand, the Ayer cut features, instead of what did you call them, Kevin? Lumpy putty patrollers. They're parademons. And so it's parademons. And if there's a lot more Jared Leto as the Joker, which is not a thing anybody should want to see.
I think it was how long is the movie? How long is the normal movie?
I have no idea. I haven't watched that movie in years.
I think there's like a 45 minutes they chopped out. A little more than 45 minutes of like actual story, not like just like stuff happening. Parademons. Incubus was supposed to look a little more comic accurate. There was going to be a reason for super light in the sky, other than it's just something that we do in these movies.
Sky beam.
The fight with the Enchantress was different. There was a Batman thing that got cut out. The weird I killed Batman thing that was different in the original cut. And there was something else that I don't remember what it was, but there was more like actual Joker story and motivation for being there. Oh, it's something with Amanda after she gets kidnapped by the Putty Patrol.
Okay. Yeah. man, it's just, I mean, I said it when it happened. I said Warner Brothers giving into these people is going to create a precedent where they're going to feel like anytime they want something, all they have to do is just scream really, really loud for a really, really long time and hijack posts, hijack trailers, hijack comment sections.
The first Star Trek movie existing on this planet is because a studio gave in to fan demand. This isn't the first time
that was a different time.
I'm actually going to push back real hard on this too, and this is a weird position to be in because I hated the Snyderverse. But if people liked it, and there are a dedicated bunch of fans who did like it, they campaigned heavily for it, and good for them because they were fighting their corner for what they wanted, and they were given it, and they liked it. And isn't that what we want Lucasfilm and Disney to do? I think there's room for all of this. It's like if you
I can see the logic in that.
You can't overpunish the majority because of the small extra vocal minority. I also point out too, Suicide Squad almost made $1 billion. It didn't because the movie didn't open in China because of Will Smith's melanin count and there was witchcraft. So you had a movie that made $800 million, had a number one album, won an Oscar because of its practical effects. The movie did very well. It is the critics that the fans were diametrically opposed to who have managed to label this movie a dud. That movie did extremely well. It was extremely well regarded by the people who went to go see it. I liken it to the critics wanted rock and roll and the fans got hip hop.
You know what, Kev? You're right. Actually, I just looked it up. 749 million at the box office. That is definitely not a failure. I can't imagine the budget. Hold on, let me look at what the budget was. 2016 budget was 175 million. So yeah, the movie made money. So that's interesting. That's very interesting to me.
Well, it was the BVS hangover. They didn't anticipate BVS being received the way it was, it being so divisive. And then that was a dark specter over everything that came afterwards. And that really kind of existed until Wonder Woman came out.
Right. And that first Aquaman movie, I still don't understand to this day how it did as well as it did. But I mean, that movie made over $1 billion.
I didn't hate it.
Stupid fun. It was stupid fun.
Yeah.
It was stupid fun during a time where the movies were starting to take themselves a little too seriously.
Well, and you know what? As fun as it was, the second one was just absolutely no fun at all. Like nobody had. I didn't see that one. Oh, it was really bad. It took too long. It took too long to come out, and just was not very good. Not very good.
It's had a show for 3 years?
Something like that.
Two and a half years.
Yeah.
And then no one did anything that anybody wanted them to do, which was
what? And they didn't release it until after they. Yeah, and they didn't release it until after the it was already announced that the universe was going away.
Also, and it kept getting delayed because they kept changing it because the shared universe kept changing.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, because we have an Affleck Batman, we have a Keaton Batman.
Yeah.
There was rumors that there was a Clooney Batman in there too.
Oh, I just said also Amber Heard.
Yes. Yeah. Everybody.
People just did not want to see. Yeah, they just were not going to pay for something with her in it.
Warner Brothers fired Johnny Depp. They fired Johnny Depp from Fantastic Beasts and kept her in Aquaman. And it's maybe the biggest miscarriage of justice in modern Hollywood, at least.
Do you remember Warner Brothers had to turn off the Instagram comments for Aquaman?
Oh, did they?
Because it was all anti Amber Heard. Even Jason Momoa's Instagram got
he got a little shady. Well, I feel too.
You've got to admit though, the movie was a turd in a punch bowl.
Oh, I mean, I didn't see it, but.
Someone Caddyshack the pool with this movie.
Did you hear the rumor that Momoa got drunk and dressed as Johnny Depp to harass her?
I had not heard. I did hear about that. I thought to myself, "There's no way that can be true, right?"
I don't know. He kind of dresses like that anyway, so I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, I know. He just is kind of like a little. I don't describe it.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yep. So David Ayer has fed into the release the Ayer cut thing. But here's my thing, and here's where I feel like they're being very short-sighted. If they really want this Ayer cut, the last person on earth that they need to piss off right now is James Gunn. He's the guy that has to okay the Ayer cut coming out. And David Ayer said that he had a meeting with James Gunn and it worked very well, and basically said, guys, it's coming. Like, it's going to happen. Yeah. I had a meeting. It was very good. Things are moving. It's going to happen. And they're just hammering James Gunn with the release the Ayer cut, restore the Snyderverse.
Yeah. And even in David Ayer's defense too, he was all about the release my version of the movie after the movie made its money. Like, it was still doing relatively well. And he was like, hey guys, listen, this isn't the movie I put out. Like, my version is way better. After he apologized for the damaged tattoo. And then he was told twice that he was going to get to release it, because after the super long Justice League cut did well, they were told that he was told by Max that they were going to let him do it, and it never happened. And then, he's been very patient.
I'm trying to remember Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I always felt that the first Suicide Squad movie got a lot more flack than it deserved. I actually really liked that movie, with the exception of Leto's Joker.
Yeah, I didn't hate it either. So from what I understand happened, they made the trailer for the movie, and everybody loved the trailer because the trailer was all music and bright colors and pastels and Harley Quinn, and everybody was like, oh, I want this. And then they hired the trailer company to recut the movie because they weren't confident in the final cut of the movie, because Warner Brothers was absolutely terrified of releasing anything even slightly serious after BVS.
Yeah, BVS hit, and then they did what Warner Brothers does, which was overreact with they have the ability to have a lack of urgency and overreact all at the same time.
Yeah.
That movie also killed Deadshot in the CW universe. They had a really good guy as a recurring Deadshot, and then they were like, well, you can't use him anymore.
Oh yeah, you're right.
They got rid of Ed Waller.
And then they were just like, you can't anymore, sorry. And so they were like, all right.
Warner Brothers is the company that routinely sues itself. So
yeah, I just don't get Warner's thinking on that. You've got a TV universe. We all know it's not the same thing. And Deadshot's not a big enough character that people are like, oh, well, I'm a huge Deadshot fan, so I'm not going to support this one. He's just a guy that shows up.
Yeah.
I think that in 2016, the audience was savvy enough to comprehend there being more than one Deadshot on TV and movies.
Remember in the 80s, a movie would come out, especially if it was a comedy, and then the following season we would have the sitcom version of that movie, and no one complained about it then. Why is that a problem now?
They did the same thing to Gotham, so I don't know. They got this weird hang up about it.
It's Warner Brothers, man. Like, they don't think the audience is smart. I feel like sometimes Marvel thinks the audience is smarter than it is, and Warner Brothers doesn't think the audience is smart at all.
Well, I have a feeling part of it is also like directors' egos, because there is a little bit of snobbery between movie productions and TV productions. And I think if you're directing part of a cinematic universe, you're going to get offended if somebody is doing what you see as a lesser version of your character.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, look, I have seen I've always said that I think TV is the superior medium to film, especially now that TV shows get larger budgets, because it's, when you write a television show, if you are the writer of a television show and you are the boss, you are in charge of that show. If you write a movie, look at Greg Berlanti wrote Arrow and got to make Arrow and spin off the Arrowverse. Greg Berlanti wrote Green Lantern, and we saw what happened with that, and the poor guy's name is still on it.
Green Lantern. They had the the director of Casino Royale, Jeff Johns, who helped Richard Donner, and then Berlanti, and we got what we got. But
we've talked about this before. It's got some great art direction at that.
Mm-hmm.
But man, the script and the casting, well, for Hal was just wrong.
Yep.
No, they made Hal Deadpool, essentially. Like he was wise. Hal is not the wisecracking, womanizer.
Yeah.
It's not.
If you were going to do Ryan Reynolds as a DC character, he should be Wally West.
Yeah. That's great casting. I could totally see that. But even Sonic took a shot. Sonic 3 took a shot at Green Lantern. There's a giant nano fist in one thing, and Jim Carrey goes, "Ooh, a giant nano fist. Haven't seen that since I watched Green Lantern in 2011." And I was like, "What a meta joke!" I mean, they basically turn Eggman into Deadpool with how many times he breaks the fourth wall in this movie,
and it's great.
Yeah. All right, guys, moving on. Now, this is one that I really want everyone's opinions on because I know we have some Star Trek fans in the house. Paramount has erased Star Trek Discovery from canon. Woo! Celebrate a potential return to tradition. We saved this one for Christmas Day because we wanted to spread a little good cheer on this special day. Paramount has officially scrubbed the maligned and controversial Star Trek Discovery from canon, setting it in an alternate timeline that doesn't impact the prime story fans have loved for decades. And not only has Paramount officially canceled Star Trek Discovery, it utterly erased it from the broader Star Trek canon. For many fans, especially those wary of the series' controversial directions, this decision is a welcome relief that promises to restore the beloved continuity of the Star Trek universe. Star Trek Discovery debuted with high expectations, but over its run, it faced significant backlash from segments of the fan base. Criticism ranged from drastic changes in the portrayal of iconic species, such as the Klingons, to deviations from established timelines and character arcs. The early seasons set the series in the past, but inconsistencies soon emerged, leading to widespread dissatisfaction. One of the most contentious issues was the redesign of the Klingons. Traditional fans were taken aback by the new aesthetic, which diverged sharply from the established look seen in Star Trek: The Original Series, and subsequent iterations like Strange New Worlds, which is a spin-off of Discovery, which makes the choice all the more confusing. This departure was not only disruptive to longtime enthusiasts, but also disrupted the visual continuity that's a hallmark of the Star Trek franchise. In an unexpected move, Paramount utilized the final episode of Star Trek Lower Decks to address the controversy surrounding Discovery. According to Giant Freaking Robot, Lower Decks officially confirmed that Discovery exists in an alternate universe separate from the main Star Trek timeline. This revelation effectively erases the Kurtzman-created series from the prime canon, ensuring that its divergences no longer impact the overarching narrative. The explanation provided involves a fascinating sci-fi concept. There's a rift surrounded by a Schrodinger possibility field that remaps matter into alternate reality versions from the multiverse. The event transforms the main timeline Klingons into those seen in Discovery, clearly delineating between the two universes. Consequently, while Lower Decks remains canon and part of the prime timeline, Discovery is relegated to an alternate reality, mitigating its previous inconsistencies. Guys, what do we think about this? Is this the victory that some think it is? Or are we just grasping at straws? I know, Kevin Apollo, you don't think this is a victory.
No, I don't know. I don't mean to poo-poo on the parade, but I don't quite understand why we're doing the nub-nub dance yet. We have Section 31 coming like a cancerous freight train. And then we still have the Tawny Newsome office Star Trek sitcom coming, and her humor sensibilities are nothing to be celebrating. So Kurtzman is still very much so there. I don't think he's going to go gently into the night. I just don't see it. I think this was a little here we'll give you a little something, but it doesn't quite mean what you mean. And as benign but obnoxious as Lower Decks has been, because I will admit, I found the main character just rough to stomach, and then she got a little better in the second season.
Michael Burnham?
Oh no! Oh no! I don't. No. Whatever. No.
I was about to say, when did Michael Burnham get better?
No. Not so. Oh God! I don't.
You're talking about Lower Decks?
Yeah, I'm talking about Lower Decks. I will never actually discuss Discovery, so I'll never truly acknowledge his existence, other than to complain about Mikey Spock. and points out that on a TV show that had editors and a prop director, she pointed the phaser at herself, and no one noticed it. But
hey, you know what? If she did it, it was the right thing to do. Because the rules of Star Trek Discovery are Michael Burnham is right. If Michael Burnham is not right, Michael Burnham is not wrong.
Yeah.
If Michael Burnham is wrong, it's because she was misled by some toxic male or white person of some kind. Michael Burnham must be involved in every storyline, whether she is involved or not. And Michael Burnham always saves the day by herself.
Everybody knew that Discovery was doomed from the start when Kurtzman went out and said, well, the Klingorks are like Trump supporters, and we need to understand their perspective. I'm like, what does this have to do with Star Trek?
What?
This is the opposite, raging opposite. Like I'm shocked Gene Roddenberry didn't resurrect and throttle the man on TV. But it's just this is rough. This hurts me. But either which way, listen, we got some good news. I don't think it's the greatest news. There's still some dark days ahead. And the battle is not done until that glorious day where we see, we wish Alex Kurtzman well in his future IP grifting endeavors.
We shoot him out the torpedo tube.
I don't see how Star Trek Discovery can be decanonized by Star Trek Rick and Morty, which itself is not canon.
Yeah.
Apparently it is canon. They were saying,
Everyone's
saying that Lower Decks is canon, which is ridiculous.
Of canon, does this also mean since Strange New Worlds is a spinoff, that can no longer be canon as well? Have we lost 2 series in this?
I don't know, because in Strange New Worlds, the Klingons look like regular Klingons.
You kind of the way they handled Discovery. Once they threw them way into the future, and then essentially wrote in a Starfleet directive where we do not ever discuss anything that happened with the crew of the Discovery. So it was an order. Anybody who knew about it was never, ever, ever, never, ever to talk about it. So technically, you can jump into Strange New Worlds, and it's never going to come up.
There's
Spock
one
never
line.
had a sister that we didn't know about.
There's one line in the first
than
episode.
Yeah,
There's a line in the first episode where Spock is like, "I am concerned for my sister, Captain," and he's like, "Well, what are you going to do?" And then they never mention it again.
That's it. So yeah, you can, I guess technically we can edit that scene out and move on. I don't know with Lower Decks or whatever. Yeah, if it's gonna be canon, then it's like hyper canon, where it's like some kind of weird exaggerated version of the events as they unfold. But
meta canon.
Yeah, it just gets murky. And
well, I figure with a comedy show, everything gets played for laughs, no matter what. So
you're basically saying that the Discovery is in a superposition.
I guess. But I get everyone reacted to this like, oh, more multiverse. Like, I don't think that this is like we're gonna go back to the Discovery multiverse, except for like section 37 or whatever it is, because that's definitely in that universe. But
the section 31 is technically in our universe. The Michelle Yeoh character is an expat from the Mirror universe who just happened to be playing. And again, depending on how they do it, we can just not know how she got here or why she's still here. And it's just messy. It's needlessly messy, and unfortunately, it's not interesting enough to do the geek.
I got a theory for you. This is how they do it. The Section 31 Michelle Yeoh character actually comes to the Prime universe because in the Mirror universe, negative Spock used red matter to create the Prime universe.
That makes sense. I mean, look, it's not like new, like multiverses are new to Star Trek. I mean, we've always had the Mirror universe. We had the Kelvin timeline. So it makes sense, and it just as long as it gets it out of the way and we never have to acknowledge it again, I'm good with it.
We make the Discovery ship basically like in that one episode of TNG where we saw like the 20,000 Enterprises and the one just blows up the moment you see it. Yeah,
I love that. The Riker is just freaking out.
Yeah.
Lauren, are you a Trek guy at all?
Used to be long ago. I was a Trek guy before I was really diehard in the Star Wars, but Voyager killed that real fast.
I'm trying to get Lauren to give Voyager another chance. I understand. Season 1 and 2 are hard. The temporal lizard babies, the Amelia Earhart. It's tough.
I love that you actually snickered before you said that, as though you're still honestly trying to get me to watch this.
I'm trying.
You acknowledge the ridiculousness of the statement before you even made it.
But I'm saying, once they leave the Kazon behind, it gets a lot better. It gets a lot better.
Yeah, it's The Force Awakens. It was a really great movie. If the Last Jedi didn't happen.
And besides, you had Chucky. Chucky saves the day. And
I have come to a place with Star Trek.
Fascinating
canon.
story, by the way. That's a fascinating Star Trek story. How to deal
Martin,
with
what were you saying?
Well, I've kind of come to a place with canon generally, with anything that's not from the mind of a single author. It all gets dicey, and so I think that in the last decade, maybe more than that, canon has been used by mega corporations to sort of control the audience. They're kind of playing on that nerd, gotta catch 'em all collector vibe. And so we as fans have to stop letting canon control us.
Mm-hmm. That does, yeah.
Well, especially
Thoughts
because
on
we
that?
care about it more than they ever would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look at the way kids shows were treated in the 90s, where like nobody thought we cared about canon, and we've obsessed over things like, well, how can Power Rangers do this, but then also do that at the same time? And the answer is nobody cared.
Where did Tori on Saved by the Bell come from? And where did she go?
And where did she go?
Well, I was actually going to bring up Saved by the Bell because Trish was talking about the Christmas episode and how the Morris family, Zach's family, takes in these homeless people, and we never hear about them again.
Never again.
Never
they were gone.
again.
They were gone in the next episode.
Some of Zach's first victims.
They sacrificed them to their gods.
They went to the
God's a
other
big
side of the
lucky
house,
self.
like how the Boy Meets World extras went to the other side of the school, and we never saw them again.
The other side of the hallway. when Minkus pops back up in the graduation episode, it's like, hey, Mr. Turner.
And doesn't the youngest daughter get sent to her room in
Family
Family
Matters?
Matters?
I was thinking that.
On Boy Meets
And
World.
Judied.
Well, on Boy Meets World, Morgan. So the little girl that played Morgan hated being an actress. She hated, like, to the point where they were doing. They made the big announcement at the end of one of the live tapings in front of the studio audience. They got the whole cast out there and like, we are pleased to announce that the show has been picked up for season 2, and everyone like cheered. And this little 6-year-old girl who was playing Morgan went, no, and like ran away because she didn't want to do it anymore. And then she was gone for a few seasons, and they recast. They brought in a new actress to play Morgan, and she comes in one day, and Eric looks at her and goes, or Corey goes, "Where the heck have you been?" She goes, "I've been in timeout for a long time." I love how sitcoms used to be able to just write characters off, and you just never saw them again.
I like when in Roseanne when the Beckys switched.
Oh, second Becky, aka Dr. Elliot Reed.
Mm-hmm. But then when Becky 1 comes back and they comment on how she's been gone for a while, and she wasn't feeling quite herself.
Every time she walks in the room, they go, "Where the hell have you been? Why does everyone keep asking me that?"
Am I just
that was the nice thing about.
Was there an episode where like they switched between scenes?
I think so.
Oh, I don't know.
Sarah
Chalk was cast in the Revival, wasn't she? But she was playing a different character.
She was playing a different character.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That was the nice thing about back then, it was a little bit easier, in my opinion, to write out some of these characters because, this is before the days, on-demand digital streaming. Like, unless a show was in syndication and had the reruns, you were just catching it at that point. So say you got into the show at, like, I don't know, end of season 2, season 3 of whatever show, you might not have seen the first few episodes that had this character that just didn't stick. Next thing you know, you probably only heard about them from a friend or a random rerun at like 3 o'clock in the morning. So they could get away with it back then.
Here's a question for you guys.
Sorry.
What was the worst recast in the history of sitcoms? Was it Harriet on Family Matters in the last season, or was it Aunt Viv on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
Well, I think Harriet was more egregious than Aunt Viv. Both of them are terrible.
Especially because
Harriet was more egregious.
Harriet was the character that spun off into Family Matters from Perfect Strangers.
Perfect Strangers, yeah.
Like, that was the crazy thing to me. Oh my goodness. The fact that they thought they could just recast her, I'm shocked they all went along with it. I mean, I think they were like, as long as we have Urkel, you're all replaceable.
That's what the mindset was. We just need Urkel and Carl.
Yeah. By the way, did anybody see Reginald Vell Johnson on Dancing with the Stars?
No.
I don't know if it was Dancing with the Stars. It was one of those dance shows, but he was on, and he literally just stands in place. Like, he stands in place and like sways back and forth. It's so bad, but it was. My goodness! Oh, we got some super chats that have been building up.
In my hometown, we call that the Lord.
Nice.
John Williams for $4.99 says it was the Bears. It's revenge for Kev refusing the truce.
I refuse no truce. I have offered my hand in coexistence many times. They betray me. Filthy savages.
I'm picturing you doing like a big peace ceremony, like in all the TV shows, where you have like the big shrine or something. The moment you're about to make peace with the bears, like a bear just mauls you or something.
That's right. I'm over here trying to recreate the first Thanksgiving, and they keep stabbing me in the back.
What was the cartoon where there's like they're about to like make a truce and something happens and someone yells treachery?
Oh, what was that?
Oh, it was Spectacular Spider-Man. Doc Ock.
That's it.
Doc Ock. John JD 999 for $1.99. Power to the 199 says happy holidays. Saw Nosferatu last night. So good. I'm very glad to hear that. I wanted that movie to be good. Ryan Plays for $20 Canadian. Thank you so very much, Ryan Plays. I adored Sonic 3. The action scenes were incredible. The references were excellent. Particularly loved Eggman's theme from Sonic 06 playing, and I'm so glad it outperformed Mufasa. LOL. Merry Christmas and happy holidays. Yes, I agree with you on everything there. Was it the 06 theme that played? I thought it was the Sonic Adventure 2 theme that played. I thought it was.
So I actually responded to his comment earlier because I thought he meant the SA2 theme, but he was saying pretty prominently it was the 06 one. It was even in the credits too. So I'm gonna have to go back in the soundtrack and listen because that's a deep cut.
Tyler Golosinski for excuse me for $9.99 says Sonic Generations for Xbox, so I can get
achievements.
So I can get achievements for beating the game, unlike the Switch version, and open Transformers that's been left in their box forever for a couple of years. Awesome. John Williams says the reveal of Marv's surname shows that he's not a movie monster, but a mountain movie. I don't know.
Montanero.
I guess. You could sing it. You could sing it to the Canyonero theme. Canyonero, Montanero. Tyler Golosinski for $4.99 says, hopefully sometime this weekend I will get to see Sonic 3. I hope you do. I truly hope you do because it is such a fun time. It was the loudest movie theater I've ever been in, but we'll get into it in a minute. John Williams for $4.99 says, oh yeah, bat embargo. Something that didn't need to be as strict as it is. I can understand the principle, but it shouldn't be a ride or die as it is. there can only be, we can't show Batman, we can't show Superman, we can't show Wonder Woman. It was all just nonsense. Tyler Golosinski for 99 says, imagine if DC was handcuffed about their big three and couldn't use them in the DC movieverse, starting with Flash, Green Arrow, Batwoman, and Supergirl. That almost happened.
It almost happened.
Yeah.
We almost got Wonder Woman in Legends, or at least we got the mascara, but
really?
Yeah, they drop off who was it? You would know, Trish. Who do they drop off on Paradise Island?
It's like the second you say something like that.
Oh, Helena Troy.
I remember her now. Okay, thank you. Yes, the second you said it, all came back to me. Yeah.
But that's why I was shocked when they eventually put Superman in in Supergirl, which I was like, you had to. You couldn't not have him in for a second year in a row. And then we got our definitive TV Superman in the best since Dean Cain, with Tyler Hoechlin. I mean, he was so freaking good. Ratman Wolverine LC Killer 17 for $2 says, I have a question. Who started Krampus? Like, who started the? Go ahead, Lauren.
Periodus.
What?
Periodus.
Oh, okay.
Greek, ancient Greek person.
Okay, that makes
Period.
sense.
Cramps. Come on, people.
Oh, period.
Lauren, making jokes about my pain. This is what you're doing right now.
Not about your pain, about your people.
Menopause.
Shut up, Marv.
Oh,
you're menopause.
I kid because
Actually,
I love
menopause. Your sarcasm.
Yeah, I have no idea where the Krampus legend started.
It really sounded like a Greek name to me. I'm sorry.
It really did. I thought Lauren, but the smile on his face, he had that Lauren like I just told a good joke, Lauren smile, and I was like, what am I not getting?
I can't believe you guys didn't tilt to it. I thought you guys were gonna catch that immediately.
Oh my goodness. Tyler Golosinski for 10.
I would imagine Krampus is German.
Probably. Thank you very much, Tyler Golosinski. You've been a superstar tonight. Very generous for $10. Says, they better not put Becky Lynch in alien makeup for her new Star Trek show, or I'm going to assume Kevin Dunn snuck in somehow. Good Lord. Oh, right. She is in a Star Trek show, isn't she?
Yes, she's in Alex Kurtzman's Starfleet Academy.
Oh, no. Why is this guy? This guy has yet to produce anything successful. Why is he still employed?
Where did he come from? Because at least I know Kathleen was the coffee girl. Like, what did he do before this?
He was a JJ acolyte.
Oh,
that's all. Yeah, they're all of them are JJ acolytes. That horrible woman that runs Amazon Prime Studios, Benioff and Weiss, not Benioff and Weiss, that's the Game of Thrones guys. The two that McKay and the ones that do Rings of Power, they're JJ disciples. Yeah, that's how that's when the question is, how did they get this gig with no experience? The answer is always they're JJ Abrams disciples.
He made one good Star Trek movie, and all of a sudden he gets the keys to the kingdom. Why?
It's Hollywood, baby.
Okay, Rachel.
Yeah. Mr. JB Jam 88 for $4.99 says, went to the midnight premiere for Sonic 3 and nearly half the theater was in cosplay. That's awesome. The loudest and most fun movie experience I've had in years. I agree. It was tremendously loud. It was louder in that theater than when Captain America picked up Thor's hammer in Avengers Endgame. Up to this point, that was the loudest. So my loudest movie theater experiences, when episode 3 kicked off, that was the craziest movie theater I had ever been in up to that point. It was packed to the gills. And everybody was just like, so it was a loud explosion right when the movie started, and then it calmed down and everybody was dead silent up through. There was a big pop when Yoda beheaded the 2 stormtroopers during Order 66. And then the next thing I heard anyone say was, as Vader's helmet slid on in like the final scene, I just heard one guy go, "Oh my God." That was it.
So you had a better theater experience than those people who saw Force Awakens, and during the opening title crawl, it's like, "Shut off the flash, you freaking idiot."
Another one was Snakes on a Plane was an incredible midnight showing.
Kevin. Anytime someone mentions Snakes on a Plane, I think about how the moment you got out of that theater, you called me to start raving about how amazing that movie was.
I love that movie.
For such a weird story, for such a weird story of how that movie came about, it had no right to be as good as it was.
Yeah. So I went to the midnight showing. People were there in cosplay as Samuel L. Jackson in like different movies. There was a Mace Windu there. There was a Pulp Fiction there. I mean, it was it was incredible. People were throwing rubber snakes around the movie theater. It was
Oh my God.
fun. It was
Scary.
so much fun. Like when Samuel L. Jackson's name popped up on the screen, the entire crowd popped huge. It was so much fun. Endgame was a really Infinity War was great live in the theater, but then so as Infinity War is once you hit the end of Infinity War, it was the most awkward, like
silent
during the entire credits. Everybody was just dead silent.
I love,
and
the
everybody
way that
kind of
movie
walked out in
ends.
the haze. Yeah, so I felt like during Endgame, people were like cautious because they were like, I know something's gonna happen.
They were really silent in my theater each time I went for the very end with Tony. Like you could hear a pin drop.
Yeah, that's when you know you really got them.
Yeah.
Spider-Man: No Way Home was insane in the movie theater.
That was the loudest theater I've ever been to. That the crowd went berserk when Green Goblin first showed up, and then by the time you got the other Spider-Man, it was just there was not a silent person in that room.
So, and I'm not going to give spoilers, but in Sonic 3, when you got to the point where like it was like the big climaxy moment that everyone had been waiting for, I couldn't even hear it because the theater was going so berserk. And the post-credit scene went even louder than that. Both of them. At the end, there were like 3 college-age dudes that were like 3 rows ahead of me, and when the movie ended, they like hugged. The 3 of them like did a group hug.
I love you, man.
All right, kids. That summer, that was the summer of Sonic.
You know what? 2024 is the year because the Knuckles series came out too. It is the year of Sonic 3 and Knuckles. It was absolutely incredible. I loved it. Ryan Damon bringing up a good sitcom recast. Dick Sargent and Dick York.
I thought of that one.
You know, I didn't mind that one very much. I kind of like Dick York.
I mean, I couldn't comment on it, but when you said
Dick
castings,
Sargent.
it's like the first one that I think of is that one.
Yeah. All right, moving along, guys. Here's one. Disney Entertainment co-chair Alan Bergman has confessed that The Acolyte was a financial disaster.
Would this need to be admitted? I mean, we all kind of knew.
In a blunt admission that demonstrates Disney's ongoing struggles with mismanaged Star Wars projects, Alan Bergman, the co-chair of Disney Entertainment, revealed why ill-fated canceled series The Acolyte was axed after a single season. Speaking with Vulture, Bergman didn't mince words about the show's failure, highlighting it as an extravagant misallocation of resources that couldn't sustain a second installment. We were happy with our performance, but it wasn't where we needed it to be, given the cost structure of that title, quite frankly, to go make a season 2. So that's the reason we didn't do that. So I believe this is the first admission from Lucasfilm that season 2 is not happening. We've heard it from the actors. We've heard it from Deadline. But I don't think anyone from Disney has officially said it wasn't coming back. But this is kind of the first time we're actually hearing it from them.
It's an especially big nail considering it's coming from Alan Bergman because the cast has still been trying to hint, well, we could do something. And I think this pretty well kills it.
Yeah. UK
Must be
tax
devastating for all those that started up that petition.
UK tax documents unearthed by That Park Place revealed that Lucasfilm and Disney shelled out a staggering £172 million sterling, proper money, approximately $231 million US for the series production. With a mere 8 episodes, this translates to an exorbitant $28.75 million per episode.
I just don't see that money on the screen.
Who could? Who could? I think Skeleton Crew was like $100 million less than The Acolyte, and don't know where it all went. You know, like, because Skeleton Crew looks like it should be more expensive with all of the practical effects that they're doing. But that's not the only thing that we've got to talk about in terms of Star Wars spending. And it's kind of highlights a much larger problem at Disney and Lucasfilm in general. Because with The Acolyte, a lot of it I thought might have been Leslie Headland was in way over her head. And she had no idea what to do with a show that size and just didn't allocate the money correctly. But Disney and Lucasfilm have spent over $500 million on Andor. I mean, first 2 seasons for Andor the budget ballooned to over $500 million amid diminishing returns. In an era where streaming platforms are vying for viewer attention with ever-expanding libraries, Disney's Star Wars series Andor stands out not for its storytelling, but for its astronomical budget, with costs soaring to a staggering $645 million. Andor exemplifies what many critics are calling ridiculous bloat for a streaming show whose viewership metrics don't justify such expenses. Disney has disclosed that Andor's second season alone cost a record-breaking $290.9 million, making it the highest ever annual spending on a Star Wars production. To put this into perspective, it eclipses the $280.7 million spent on The Last Jedi over an almost 11-month period, and significantly surpasses the $243.8 million allocated to The Force Awakens during its production cycle.
My God.
And here's the thing. I know people like Andor. People like to say Andor is good. I never watched it because I just couldn't get into it. I'm telling you, it's not worth that.
Am I the only one here in a complete, utter state of shock? Because, like, we're used to, commenting on, like, oh, haha, they're spending all this money on this production. Oh, they're allocating all these funds here. But literally, more than Force Awakens, the big return of Star Wars?
Well, this is the rare case where I think there's probably more to the story that we don't know yet. Because there's two things that I would point to for Andor specifically. One is that you do see the money on the screen in Andor. And when you're talking about, I don't remember if Andor was 8 or 9 episodes for the first season, but you're getting roughly, let's say, 7 to 8 hours of show, whereas for a movie, you're getting 2.5 at best. It also has a fairly large cast, but the part that doesn't make sense to me about this is that the budget for the first season, I think, was around 180 million, if I remember, something like that. But a lot of the sets and props and everything from season 1 should be reused in season 2. So I have a feeling something else is going on here, and I'm curious to find out what it is.
Any guesses that you can venture, Lauren, about what could possibly be sucking up all that money?
The only thing that I can think of is that it's got to be more effects heavy. I'm sure there's probably more to it than that. I mean, you're going to have an expanded cast. We know that Ben Mendelsohn is going to be appearing in season 2, so he's probably got a pretty hefty price tag. If the story goes where I think it's going, there's going to be at least one pretty effects heavy scene. Beyond that, I'm not sure. I'm just curious. To me, this is the one story that to me rang as, no, something's got to be wrong here. But I don't know where the budget information is coming from. I'm assuming it's the same UK tax filings that we've been getting the other stuff from. Yeah. And so I take it that the numbers are accurate. But this is such an increase that I just feel like there's something more we don't know yet. And I have a feeling we're going to find out later.
Well, and there were rumors that for The Acolyte, I remember hearing that Kathleen Kennedy was siphoning money from other projects' budgets to put toward The Acolyte.
I've heard that, and I see it, people saying it in the chat that they think it's money laundering. I don't buy that. That's actually a lot harder to accomplish than I think people think. And when you've got the tax filings here with the numbers on it that people can look at and look up, I feel like something else is afoot here. I am wondering, maybe originally Andor was supposed to be 5 seasons, right? And they shrunk it down to 2. I'm halfway wondering if there's somehow, maybe there's an unannounced project that is associated with Andor that will be a spin-off cinematic thing, and they've combined that into this budget. But I don't know anything about that. I haven't heard anything to that effect. But, I mean, if this budget number is accurate for season 2, they should be getting twice what they're getting for a season, and that's why I feel like something else is going on here.
Yeah.
A lot of people say money laundering. That's a serious crime. I think what people are getting at when they say money laundering is really just skimming off the top. When money passes through a lot of hands, it has a tendency to fall down and be picked up. So I think that explains things better than money laundering, which is itself a specific sort of crime.
But I mean, to this degree, though, I mean, you think that they're skimming off the top, but basically doubling the budget?
I don't think it's to that extent. I do think when an individual runs a company, like let's say you're running a courier service, you own a car, you're going to run that car to the ground until you absolutely have to buy something new. If you are the general manager of a FedEx, you're going to put in a requisition for 10 new trucks at your location, even if there is still life in them, just because, somebody's going to get that money, might as well be us. And that's why large corporations become inefficient. So the larger the budget gets, the less efficiently that money is used. But I don't think it's doubling the budget kind of. There's something else going on there. Hopefully, again, it gets seen on the screen, or at least it generates return for the investors. But I'm just saying, I would not allege a crime in this.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'm curious to see where this goes, because I do feel like whatever the case is, there's more to the story. This number is too big to not have more to it.
Right. Could it be incompetence more so than anything insidious?
I guess it depends on who you're blaming for the incompetence. If you're talking about Tony Gilroy, I don't think so. If you're talking about somebody else, definitely possible. But if you're that incompetent, I mean, if you are doing something like, really, this is a doubled budget. That's impossible to ignore. Somebody's going to be looking at that, and it's got to be explainable. If I were, putting on the devil's advocate hat and saying that I'm not a fan of Star Wars and not defending it in any way, if I'm an investor, I'm looking at that number and I'm pissed. And right now, Iger's not in the position where he should be pissing off the investors at all. They are turning the screws to him pretty hard right now. Right. And I suspect we're going to be hearing more about that in a nearer future than we might have otherwise suspected. So I don't think that you would be releasing these kind of numbers unless you had a pretty darn good explanation for it.
And they're trying to make prestige internet television look like 8-hour movies. Lauren kind of touched on that before. So you're no longer getting the one hallway on the entire Starship Enterprise because they only had the budget to build one hallway set, right? Now Andor is going to take place on this planet and this planet and this planet. They're going to shoot in real locations and things like that.
I was just about to ask, is Andor shot in the volume or is it on location?
No, it is on location for, I think, almost everything. Very little was actually done on the volume. They did real sets and the whole 9 yards. That's actually why I was saying you saw the money on the screen for season 1, because it was real locations and it showed.
Wasn't the Acolyte also real locations?
Pardon me? Say that again?
Wasn't the Acolyte also real locations, though?
It was. I don't know if it was for the entire show, but I know that for at least a good portion of it, it was.
I guess you also have to wonder, too, because this is a thing that happens, what other Lucasfilm projects that didn't have the budget that they kind of wanted had Andor absorb their cost? Because we have seen this happen very recently with major studios. Picard, I think season 1 and 2 absorbed a lot of the cost of Discovery to keep it going. So we know it's something that happens. But yeah, we know the Acolyte was very expensive at some point, and we have to assume someone said stop spending money. And if there's a handful of people who have access to all the to all the QuickBook accounts. I wouldn't be shocked if a little bit of money got shifted over, to to get something greenlit and said, "Yeah, we'll just figure it out later."
Actually, it may make some sense if you're talking about shifting budget items from other shows. The number they're reporting for Skeleton Crew is suspiciously low, and there's a lot of practical effects there too. So that might make some sense if they're trying to make Skeleton Crew appear cheaper.
Yeah, somebody like Jonas could probably speak to this pretty well, but there's an accounting thing where if costs are being shared between units. Well, let's say you got a roommate and the both of you want cable. The package you want is a lot more expensive than the package they want, but they watch it a lot more than you. Well, how do you allocate that? Are you the prime driver of getting cable? Should you pay for the basic cable and they pay for the extra package? Are you paying per use, or are you just dividing it down the middle? That's not a big deal when you have a roommate. Well, it can be a huge deal if you have a bad roommate. But in a big business, that there's a philosophy of accounting debate to be had there. And again, somebody like Jonas could probably break that sort of thing down for us real well.
Probably. Chef Eddie had an interesting thought. Maybe they're trying to absorb the cost of the Galactic Star Cruiser into different properties. Insane. I honestly, it's got to come from the top though, because doesn't the head of the studio set the budgets for these things? Doesn't Kathleen Kennedy have to approve these expenditures?
I would think so.
You think, right? Like everything, the money's got to go through her, right? She's the one with the checkbook.
Yeah, this is above the pay grade of a showrunner.
Yeah,
the showrunner's going to be told you get X budget. Then if there's going to be overruns, you go back and you ask for more.
Yeah, I think that the problem with Leslie Headland is she got all this money to make this show and yet somehow still made it look like garbage. Because The Acolyte was just poorly done on literally every level. Like even the costumes sucked. I don't know.
Well, not to. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Trish.
Well, no, it's. I divert off of this specific topic. It's related, but I'm not talking about Star Wars specifically, so I don't want to break the flow. If there's more of that to say, it was just I found something curious. You were saying how much it cost an episode to make that show. I said there's got to be movies that cost less than that are better than episodes of that show. So just did a quick search on the Googles, and it said The King's Speech cost $15 million to make, and it made, hold on, I have it right here.
I believe it's a lot of talking, sitting around talking.
$427.4 million, and it proceeded to win 4 Oscars, including Best Picture. Now, I understand these are two different types of things we are talking about, but then we're also talking about such a vast difference in quality of what we're doing. And then Martin was like, oh, it's like trying to make an 8-hour movie is what they're trying to make TV. So then the movie's 2 hours. So then you multiply that by 4 and that's $60 million. And I was like, that's like 2 episodes of this show. And that's theoretically getting 4 movies that win you Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, and Best Original Screenplay.
Without the associated extra income as well that you would normally get from ticket sales and spin-off merchandise and all of that stuff.
And you're not even getting Colin Firth and Jeffrey Rush.
I love Colin Firth.
When you look at The Acolyte, go ahead, Nolan.
For spin-off merchandise, there really was nothing better than the King action figure from the King's Speech. It was really something. Movable jaw and everything.
You heard what I said. I understand that they're different properties, but you know.
Read this as a stream of profanity.
His Happy Meal toy was great.
Yeah, you pull the string in the back of it and it goes.
Wasn't the Happy Meal? This had to be Burger King. You got to be thinking about brand synergy.
True.
Speaking of brand synergy, why has Sonic the Restaurant never really pushed for a Sega tie-in?
I mean, it's a Happy Meal toy right now. Sonic is. I just saw. I have a yearly tradition that I get a fillet of fish from McDonald's every Christmas Eve. So I went to get my fillet of fish, and as I pull into the drive-thru at McDonald's, I see Sonic toys and the Happy Meal. So now I'm like, well, now I gotta get a Happy Meal.
Do you order it 10 times?
Which toy did you get?
Knuckles. I wasn't mad. That was when I opened it and it was Knuckles and I wasn't mad. That was when I realized there was no toy in that lineup that I would be mad at getting.
My daughter got the superpowered shadow after we went and
that's
saw the
awesome.
movie.
That's awesome.
Lucky.
I feel like the supers are probably hard to get. But anyway, so with the Acolyte though, you look at the budget and it's like they had one big lightsaber fight, right? That lasted like a whole episode that everybody, pooped themselves over, and it was actually terrible. But you didn't get a lot of. There was not a visual effects heavy show. It was not a makeup heavy show.
That proves my point even more.
There was no force lightning. There was one space battle sequence, I think, and it wasn't even much of anything. It just, you don't, like Lauren said, you don't see it on the screen. You just don't. It's just, I don't know. I don't know. Like, at least in Andor, like, they're recreating the Senate from the prequel trilogy and stuff like that. Like, you're doing, even when they went to Coruscant in the Acolyte, it was just that one shot of the Jedi Temple that looked like it was rendered by AI.
But I mean, in Andor, you also got the ISB Bureau, which I thought looked great. For a lot of the stuff on Aldhani, they shot in the Scottish Highlands, and it looks great. They had competent cinematographers, and they had gigantic and really well-built sets. You saw the money in Andor, and I suspect you'll see it in Andor Season 2. But even if you do, it doesn't justify this kind of budget, and that's why I've got question marks on it.
So, Lauren, did you like Andor?
I was very skeptical of it until they hit episode 5, and that sounds like a negative against the show, and at the time I thought it was, because it was a very slow show to get going. But once you hit episode 5, after that it took off for me. It is my favorite series that they have put out for Star Wars.
That's actually part of the problem I have with what's become prestige internet or streaming TV shows. They're treating it like these 8-hour movies. And so you keep being told, well, you can't criticize until it's over because it's all going to make sense when it's over.
Right.
Well, it's TV. I would like an episode to make sense.
I definitely agree there.
Agatha all along was that. Like, Agatha all along didn't make sense to the last episode, and even then it was stupid. Go ahead, Nolan.
And the thing is, to Martin's point, most episodes of shows, even with your longer shows, like TNG, where the episodes were like 40 minutes or whatever, most episodes, unless it was like a two-parter, could be enjoyed, within itself. You didn't need to take away like 8 hours of your life just into the show. And I feel like as a result of this, there's just so much bloat in almost every single TV series you get these days. Lauren said it took till like the 5th episode before that show started catching on. And I'm sure episode 5 will make you appreciate the earlier stuff more. But if it takes that long to get you hooked, why couldn't we have just made it like the show half the length? It makes no sense to me.
I kind of agree, and that was my complaint at the time, is that it felt like the initial episodes were very slow and took too long to get going. And what they were doing was they were introducing the players, setting up the pieces on the board. I do feel the first 5 episodes probably could have been cut down to 3, and it probably would have been better. But I know the show lost a lot of people before they got there. But when they got there, for my money, Andor is the single best Star Wars show that Disney has produced, because I do feel that it honored what George's vision for Star Wars was in some pretty startling ways. It had some absolutely stellar performances, especially from Stellan Skarsgård. I am very much looking forward to Andor Season 2, because I think I know what it's leading up to. And if you pay attention to the old EU lore, if I'm right, they're leading up to a very important event. And I think that's maybe where some of that budget is going to.
Ooh, that's enticing. Now it makes me actually want to go back and try to watch it again. Did K2SO ever show up in the first season, or is that season 2?
No, he is going to appear in season 2. That's where some of the budget's going to go as well. What I would advise you to do is look up the Gorman Massacre. And once you get there, some of this might begin to make sense. And also, if I'm right about that, it may mean that some of this budget money, I don't know. They may be, I don't know if there's a lawsuit involved, but I know that there was at least a complaint made, and it may be that they're having to pay off some people to do what they want to do.
Right. So guys, this is not on topic. I don't have an article for it, but I do want to ask, has anybody watching What If season 3? I have
No.
watched one episode of it, and it was so mind-numbingly bad that I have not had the strength to go back and watch another one. And so the first episode was a Pacific Rim kind of thing. It was like, what if the Avengers had Voltron? So it's like there's a Hulk kaiju, and the Avengers get like Voltron robots, like a Megazord, to fight, or they just get like Zords to fight it, basically. And all the original Avengers die in the first 5 seconds of the episode. So our new Avengers team is Falcon Cap, Shang-Chi, Shuri. I think it's Yelena with Red Guardian. So clearly they got Red Guardian to come back, but they did not get Florence Pugh. So Red Guardian talks, but Yelena has to be the one driving the Megazord because we can't let the man do anything.
Why is this show called What If? Because this is literally the timeline we're living in right now with the MCU.
Yep. So they fight Hulk kaiju and a Megazord, and they beat it, and it wins. Yeah, like it's terrible. But then the next episode was something that it was, what if Agatha went to Hollywood? What if Agatha was a Hollywood star? And I'm like, well, she's not. Like, Catherine Hahn is not a Hollywood star, so this is a huge leap. I could not have wanted the third episode. Actually looked like something that I kind of wanted to see, but the show, I didn't have the energy to click on it. It was like, what if the Red Guardian stopped the Winter Soldier? Like stopped him from killing Howard Stark. But then the most recent one, and I don't know if you guys saw this.
I saw it on X.
I am so disturbed by it. I mean, look, it's not the first time this has happened, but you know, because in the Lucasfilm movie, I believe this happened too. But it's basically, what if Darcy rocked Howard the Duck's world? And it's Darcy and Howard the Duck getting together and having relations, and Darcy laying an egg.
What?
We covered that in the original Howard the Duck without the egg.
It was disturbing then. I feel like now, like, it's going to be like a new original MCU character. Is this the spawn of Darcy and Howard the Duck?
So what you're saying is that Darcy got ducked.
Yeah, well, what I'm saying, Lauren, is once you go duck, that's where you're stuck.
All right, I do want to raise a question, and I hope we can be delicate with it. Between Howard the Duck and Back to the Future, what was with Leah Thompson picking movies where she was in weird relationships?
Oh, I know.
Leah Thompson's a freak.
First her son, then a duck. Like, it just, I was like, who in the writer's room was like, hey, I know what we should do for an episode of this show.
Hold on. I have a more burning question.
Okay, go ahead.
Who was it? Was it George or was it Spielberg who said the duck needed to have nipples in the original Howard the Duck?
That's a George.
I don't think it was either. Honestly,
no, it's George. That's George.
George was the one who said Marion.
Howard the Duck, though, is because wasn't George Lucas's name just plastered on it basically for marketing? Wasn't it like a couple that was like directing that movie, and he basically gave him like a favor to put his name on it to like help them give their movie a better chance? I thought that was the case with the movie.
Martin,
that's why the film's so bad.
I was going to say George is an odd duck himself. We know of 2 costumes he's designed: the Slave Leia outfit and Padme's seduction leather outfit with the choker. And then in addition to that, he kept pushing Spielberg to that Marion's age against Indy's age. Like, Marion needed to be like 13, 14 years old when Indy was a grad student, or else it's not interesting.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, Indiana Jones and the Strange Case of Lolita.
Good Lord.
Wasn't quite that young, but yes, that was something that he pushed. But I think that was to highlight the remember that Indy was originally a much more mercenary character, and I think that was supposed to be part of his arc, is that he goes from being this guy who doesn't really give a crap about anybody, he's only after fortune and glory, to being the selfless hero. That's something we've kind of forgotten about how to do in storytelling today. So I actually kind of like that he pushed that angle, because one, it gave Marion a genuine reason to punch him like she did in that first opening scene in The Raven. But they did have feelings for each other. It's also important to remember we're judging a movie based on current day mores and standards, when back then, those kind of age gap relationships, that's a relatively small gap, and it was a lot more common back then.
I'm actually not judging it for that, because Spielberg, they don't really say how old she was in the movie anyways. The best we could go off of is the relative age of the actors, which that's not a big deal there. And Spielberg said, yeah, just, listen to what George said, and we shot the movie. But, like if you look at relative age of actors, Harrison Ford was only 13 years younger than Sean Connery, who's playing his dad.
Trish just brought something up in the private chat that I feel the need to to bring up. I
Are
was
we actually going to
convinced that
touch this?
I said it in there in case people weren't supposed to, but go for it.
I'm more likely to smell
there's
this.
a cover for it. Where's Spencer?
Yes.
Because Spencer and I attacked this in the in the team.
Oh,
chat.
it's real.
I am going to be super gentle about it. I legitimately thought it was made up. I thought it was some Tumblr like nonsense.
Probably where they came from.
It is a comic book that is about Harley Quinn having flatulence upon others. That's what the comic book is about.
Yes.
Welcome to 2024, the year of which Harley Quinn shoots Batman and farts on people.
Yep. Well, I guess that won't come out till 2025. As John Williams put, John Williams put it well, starring. It's that's the thing. Writers today, everything is either it's got to be them, like every character's got to be some version of themselves, and it's got to inject all of their weirdness into it.
Well, again, it's especially in the comics industry right now. There is a dearth of actual talent. It's self-inserts and creepy and trying to cater to Tumblr weirdos, and we wonder why we can't sell books.
Yeah, I don't understand who at DC was like, hey, you know what? This is the thing we've got to do. And yes, by the way, Angry Table checking in for $2 Canadian that he was the one who flagged the farts to us.
And how was it that you found it first, Hangry? What exactly were you looking up?
Exactly. I want to know what's going on there. Hangry, I'll send you the link for the episode if you want to join in.
More like suspicious
finds things. I feel like Hangry finds things for me to react to.
Yes, I think he does too. I think he looks for things specifically to get your reaction to them. Hold on, let me just send Hangry the link real quick. And yeah, if he wants to pop in, he can pop in.
Also, I like to think this topic is what signaled him. He's like
he had the Michael Keaton moment.
Yeah. His Google alert went off.
A Hangry Table would like to know your location.
This is like Bo DeMeo stuff, honestly.
It really is.
Missed that guy.
He was more classy than that, Trish.
Can he please? Can he?
No.
Oh God. He changed his.
Well, the lighting, guys. Don't forget about the artistic lighting.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show. I can't believe I'm going to say the name that he put up here. A farty table. What are you doing?
Sky.
Just wafting in.
And
silent but deadly.
Yep. I had to join.
Well, how can you not? How can you resist this topic?
How did you stumble upon the Harley Quinn flatulence comic book?
Well, it's one of those things. Like, I used to be such a massive comic collector. I have more long boxes of stuff than I can count. And then, like a lot of people, and I see Kevin nodding his head, I just ended up dropping off. But it's like one of those, that famous line, I just can't quit you. So I still keep tabs on comic book news and whatnot, and it's basically this is what popped up, and this was I saw this and I thought to myself like, there's no way this is real, and I mean, I was trying to like Google it. I was trying to like see whether or not this was a joke. Like I knew that
You're-
DC had gone.
You're on a list. You're on a list now
gonna
somewhere,
say-
and you're about to start getting really weird recommendations.
Yeah, I
You were
know.
trying to Google it.
It ruined my timeline. It's kind of gone to dark places I don't want to mention. But all that to be said, no, it appears to be legit and it appears to be real, and it somehow passed editorial. Like, I mean, it just. Man, I don't know, but you're right, Kevin. I do find stuff for you to react to. That's
Who's the editor in chief at DC right now?
Do they even have one? Like, is it Jim Lee still, or is it?
It's allegedly supposed to be Jim Lee. I think it's just Jim Lee in name only because he doesn't even protect his own characters.
Like I'm saying, like the farting Harley Quinn crossed Jim Lee's desk, and he's just like, yeah, okay.
You would be aghast at the things that passed. I'm gonna be very honest.
Aghast.
I see what
Come
you did
on,
there.
Kevin.
Aghast at what passed. Oh boy.
It's DC is in a really weird place. This is probably the least offensive of what's happening over there, and this isn't the first time something weird like this has happened. The only thing that I would say is, depending upon the public's reaction, will be the determining factor if they actually go through with this or not. If this goes, oh, we made this and we're not going to publish it, or if they're going to publish it and then be like, yeah, we're not going to reprint it.
Well, do we think that this is indicative of how poor their sales are, that this may actually represent a boost in sales from a niche fetishist audience?
Oh, I'm sure it will. I'm sure this is going to sell very well, and it's going to open up a whole new ball game of comic books for them.
I don't want to read anything that has anything to do with superhero balls. Let's leave the ball game out of it. We've already got the
I don't want to break wind here. But but I mean, in all seriousness though, didn't DC? I recall reading that about a year or 2 years ago, they basically fired their entire editorial team.
Yeah.
And there was a period where it was kind of like what's the saying? The inmates were running the prison because they had no one to actually sort of reel them in. This was right after the Dan DiDio firing, I think. So is that still the case? Like, do they just still not have, or they must have editorial, but like, is it just basically one person drinking a lot of coffee or something now?
I think so. Well, because they don't even have, when they closed the New York offices and moved them all to LA, they don't even have workspaces. They have to share. Right. They have to share their office with other people who are not, and you get the desk when that person isn't there at that time. So who knows? They have a shoestring budget, and it shows. It's hard times, baby, over in DC.
But don't a lot of the writers and artists work from home anyways, and have since the 90s?
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, it's just strange.
We should unleash DOGE on them. Doge, is that how you pronounce it?
Doge. Oh, Hangry's up there in Canada just longing for Doge.
No, it's gonna come. It's gonna come up here too.
Sure.
Well, yeah, when we buy Canada, sure.
Yeah, we do the 51st state.
Well, Trump is doubling down on that. He's like, Canadians would have like, what is it, 60% reduction in our taxes? Like that sounds. I'm not gonna lie, that sounds pretty good.
It's like, is it Mr. Wonderful heading to a meeting in Mar-a-Lago to talk about annexing Canada?
Yeah,
he joked about that on his Twitter earlier.
Personally, I think we should treat it like a buffet. Take the pieces you want, leave the things you don't.
Yeah,
leave Newfoundland.
But
I like the Newfies; they're fine.
Yeah,
okay. The Newfies.
When you said Mr. Wonderful, all I could think of was Paul Orndorff. I was like, why is Paul Orndorff?
What I want to know is
the nation of Canada.
How do we alter our flag? Does it then have 50 stars on a maple leaf?
Oh no, we turn them into territories just for the oil.
Yeah, of course. No, they're not going to be states. I don't want a new flag.
They're too nice to say no.
I mean, I will say, like, I bought something the other day from the US. It was about, it cost $150 US. Canadian, after the conversion, it came out to close to $240 Canadian. And I remember a time where the Canadian dollar was actually higher than the American dollar. So this is just like, this is a kick in the wooden jewels, let me tell you.
In the table leg.
I remember
penalty box.
When I would go buy my Dragon Ball Z toys off of the eBays and had to do the conversion.
Oh jeez. That's why I had an anime store in my town that had all the imports. But I digress. All right, guys, we got some more super chats to get to. I just can't believe this Harley Quinn thing is actually happening.
I'm so glad I brought it up. I'm not gonna lie. I got some good laughs out of it.
Yeah. John
say,
William.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I would say, guys, just when you don't think everybody who was angry at Dan DiDio for running it the way he did, look at where we are now.
Yep.
Look at where we are now.
Be careful.
You know what?
Everybody was so mad at Michael Eisner.
Well, I attribute, like, I kind of can think of Dan DiDio much in the same way as I do Rick Berman and Brandon Braga, in the sense that at the time you were kind of thinking, well, this stuff isn't really all that great, but you had no idea how much worse it could get after they left.
Yeah. It turned out to be a long road getting from there to here.
Getting from there to here.
John Williams for $20. Thank you very much. That's very generous. Is my guess. Andor, they're pulling a WCW and just added the budget from other stuff, such as props for other to reuse later, such as new CGI model for the Death Star Empire armor. Remember Mando? They used the 501st as extras in season 1. Yeah, they did use members of the 501st. I do remember hearing about that. So, let's see. John Williams again for $2 says worst DeviantArt days, worse than Tumblr. Yeah. DeviantArt was nuts back in the day. Tostitos 11, $2 is a little something for the hours of entertainment. Thank you very much, Tostitos 11. We really appreciate that. And Dead X Man 616 member for 2 months says I guess ironically, 2024 Harley Quinn killed the sexy clown gimmick that she's introduced in the 90s. Well, yeah, because they turned her into an insufferable feminist, right? Ryan Damon for $5 says somebody gave Dominic Mysterio chicken tenders during his match tonight at Madison Square Garden. Thank you for letting us know.
I could go for some nugs.
I could do.
Sounds kind of good. Yeah, give me some
I got leftover pork from Christmas sitting in the fridge right now, and it's like calling my name. I also make this thing called Bishop's Breakfast every Christmas morning.
Oh.
It's a
Is it time travel?
No. It's a
that's the bishop's wife's brick.
Yes. It's like a casserole, and you cube some bread, some white bread, and you layer it with bread, ham, cheese, and then bread again, and then you pour a mixture of egg, butter, milk, and salt over the top of it, and just bake it in the oven. It's Christmas.
You had me at bread.
Cubed bread layered with bread.
Yes. You got bread. It's like a big sandwich, Lauren. You got bread on the bottom, you got bread on the top. I never thought of it like that before, actually. It's essentially a sandwich.
I'm gonna drag it back to Harley Quinn for a second, because I wanted to know the entire critique about Harley beforehand and when she was introduced was that she was basically a character which was being viewed through the male gaze, which as we all know is a big no-no. Now,
of course, how dare they?
Like, so whose gaze is this new Harley being viewed from? Like, is this essentially just like fetishists?
It's no longer visual. Now it's olfactory.
Right.
Oh, it is the unattractive, chubby wannabe cosplayer.
Right.
That's why she wears the booty shorts. That's why she is essentially has a cylindrical body.
It's a woman. A woman wrote it, according to this tweet.
What? Okay, hold on. We need to look into
I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you in the chat so you can see
Is it someone who always called themselves a woman?
I mean, now that I cannot speak to.
Uh-oh.
Do not be. Well, first of all,
But don't flash it up on the screen. But
a big chunk of your terrible books, with the exception of whatever Tom Taylor and Tom King are deciding to afflict upon you, are handled by female creatives over at DC. That's why it's all a bunch of women sitting in a room talking about not being heroic as opposed to being heroic.
It's why the new Batman cartoon is just a bunch of fat ladies sitting in a diner, and occasionally Batman shows up.
It says it's got rub and smell pages.
Yeah.
No,
it's a scratch and sniff book. Yeah. Yeah.
No.
I'm telling you, you saw. Did you see the tweet I put in the chat? It's a woman.
Christmas came early, Marvin. Christmas came early.
Did we learn nothing?
We're gonna play a really funny rib on Marv, and we're just gonna make up that we're gonna swear that this is real. You guys went too far with the scratch and sniff pages. I refuse to believe it now. Your jig is up.
Did we learn nothing from Spy Kids 4D with the smell-o-vision? Did we learn nothing?
Well, this is why I thought it was a joke when I first saw it. I'm like, okay, I could almost believe that they would do a fart thing, but like scratch and sniff pages, like, come on, that has to be a troll. And
that was someone who grew up collecting stickers in the 80s.
Right.
Scratch and sniff stickers were everywhere as kids.
And licking glue too much.
Scratching what now?
You know, the only thing that can make this worse is if it came with a bag of like the Jelly Bellies.
Oh, God. Let's see where you're going with that.
The next man says, I wanted a woman. I didn't find no women. I found a bunch of men who look like women. The old Dr. D. Dave Schultz promo on Hulk Hogan, where he danced around calling Hulk Hogan gay for like 5 minutes.
This whole scenario just sounds like a bet you would have with like a friend or something like that. It's like, you get to marry Harley Quinn, but she farts every 5 seconds. It's like,
no, it sounds like it's like a finisher, Nolan. Like it sounds like she's weaponizing it. I think. Like I don't think this is just her running around farting with reckless abandon.
Men can never find Harley sexy again, basically.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, probably.
Oh, do you think that? Do you think that's the misfire that they're doing? They think that like
misfire.
I see what you did there, Marvin. Well done.
But do you really think they're going to be like, hey, this will make men not be interested in Harley Quinn?
Yeah.
There's a lot of men out there that probably will be more interested in Harley.
I was just going to say, I might backfire.
Oh boy. In all seriousness, I think that's exactly what's driving this. They're like, Harley Quinn has been sexualized and she's tokenized and part of the male gaze and whatnot, and this is the best way to break her out of it and show that she's just not. It's not all about the physical. It's about the, as Lauren said, the olfactory now too.
The thing is, they underestimate just how hard people will rule 34. It's like you have no idea how this is going to take
off.
Like
baby's first day on the internet.
In the I read that next month they are redesigning Harley Quinn to be a anthropomorphic fox. That's gonna to curb the.
Why not? Anthropomorphic fox that farts. I hope so. A gassy fox.
Oh my god!
I want to believe
did you say they already did it, Kevin? Is that what you said?
We've already done the
no
People Moles thing.
Did they?
Zoobly zoo.
The manimal?
Who knew Ben Vereen was to blame for all of this?
Yeah, right.
Ben Vereen.
I trusted you, Ben Vereen.
I trusted you, Ben Vereen.
Was it?
Your name sounds like Wolverine.
Oh my gosh, Trish, you just sent me the tweet. You guys really went very far for this rib.
Well,
you really did.
Nothing but the best for you guys.
I want to believe this all started out as like, hey, let's do a whole thing about fart jokes. Harley Quinn's, she's not really that funny, so she does fart jokes, and it's gotten out of hand. But
this feels like an April Fool's joke that they just couldn't keep in their pants long enough.
Oh,
I have to say though, the subtitle for the thing, "Silent but Deadly,"
yeah,
that's kind of funny. I do kind of laugh at that.
You know what, guys? I think I might have to actually be the one to publish the book because I'm denying that it's true, and as we all know, whoever denied it supplied it.
Yes.
That's true.
That's how it works in the publishing industry.
That's a rule. It's a golden rule.
I wish they had the rights to Mystery Men just so they could have the Spleen cameo.
Wait, hold on. LK says Joanne Starr, that's the writer, who ran a women's wrestling promotion in 2002 called Kiryoku Pro. Okay, we need to look more into this.
Yeah, because somebody said she made
it always goes back to wrestling, they said.
I think it was LK was saying she had made a wrestling comic book at one point.
Did it involve flatulence?
I hope so.
Oh yeah, written a graphic novel about wrestling. Yeah, we need to look into this lady.
She was bridging the gap there. She had to get from point A to point B, so
we're crossing the streams.
literally crossing the streams. Okay, moving on. Time. I'm so disturbed.
I'm so glad. So glad I brought it up.
The only way I've been able to move on with my life since Hangry brought this to our attention was I convinced myself that it was not, that there was no way that this was real.
Man-made horrors beyond human comprehension, Marvin. I'm telling you.
Now, not only is it real, but it's a scratch and sniff book.
I did forget that part, that I read that part. My brain was like, no, too much.
How are they going to pull that off over like the digital comic books, like on Comixology?
Oh my gosh.
No, that doesn't even exist anymore, does it?
Comixology doesn't exist anymore?
Well, no, it got bought out by Amazon, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a shell of its former self. It's not at all what the app used to be.
You just have to Dutch oven yourself in between.
Dutch oven.
One of my best friends with his wife one time pulled a prank on her, and he had done that. They were in bed, and he had let go without her being aware. And he said, "I'll bet you that I can spit a loogie and hit you on the forehead." And she said, "What?" And he said, "No, I could totally do it." And she said, "You wouldn't." And he went, "Oh," and she ducked her head under the covers.
Oh no!
That's like 4D chess right there.
That really is. That's like a Loki level plan. That's a Z. Is your friend Zemo?
Are they still married?
Yeah, they are. Fortunately, they both have a very similar sense of humor. She got the funniness of it, but I think anybody else probably would have been divorced.
All right.
We just learned the secret of a healthy marriage, guys.
Yeah.
Better out than in.
Deception and mix it in with deception and betrayal. Gosh.
Holy moly.
Right. Moving along. All right, I'm talking about our title
Holy
story.
moly. Just keep going.
That was a stretch, Trish. That one was a stretch.
No, it wasn't, because I went right to it.
All right, that park plays Sonic the Hedgehog 3 destroys Disney and Mufasa in domestic opening weekend SmackDown. In a stunning turn of events this weekend, Paramount Sonic the Hedgehog 3 has turbocharged its way to the top of the domestic box office, leaving Disney's latest venture, Mufasa the Lion King, in the dust. This outcome is particularly embarrassing for Disney, considering Mufasa is a sequel to the highly successful 2019 remake of The Lion King, which grossed an impressive $1.6 billion worldwide. According to Deadline, Sonic 3 surged ahead with a formidable $62 million opening weekend, nearly doubling Mufasa, which debuted with $35 million domestically. Both films are extensions of beloved intellectual properties. Sonic is a direct sequel, and Mufasa serving as both a prequel and a sequel to Disney's 2019 live-action, in quotes, remake. However, the disparity in their opening numbers highlights a significant misstep for Disney. What makes Sonic 3's victory even more impressive is the fact that Mufasa was released in premium formats, including 3D, IMAX, and Dolby Cinema. These formats typically command higher ticket prices, meaning Mufasa had the potential to generate substantially more revenue per viewer. Despite this advantage, Sonic not only met but exceeded expectations, outperforming Mufasa by a substantial margin. Both films defied box office projections, albeit in different ways. Sonic was initially expected to pull in between 55 and 60 million, while Mufasa was forecasted to bring in 50 million. Now, Mufasa managed to make a respectable $87 million internationally, contributing to a global opening weekend total of $122 million, but its domestic underperformance casts a shadow over Disney's latest endeavor. Disney has quickly declared Mufasa the #1 movie in the world, a statement that is technically accurate on a global scale. However, the title is somewhat misleading, as Sonic 3 had yet to open in international markets. The third installment for the Sonic franchise was slated for an international release on the 25th, and I believe also in some markets it just opened today. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes as well. But on the reception front, Sonic 3 has been a hit with both critics and audiences alike. Has a certified fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes of 86% from critics and an impressive 98% approval score from the audience, earning a verified hot badge on Rotten Tomatoes. In contrast, Mufasa struggled to gain similar acclaim, holding a rotten 57% rating from critics while still maintaining an 89% audience approval score. Guys, this was not even like we all thought it was going to be close. It's not even close.
I didn't. I didn't.
You don't bet against Keanu.
Honestly,
live the king.
In follow-up news, Sonic has been charged with domestically abusing Mufasa.
I thought I saw something today about in the box office numbers now that parents have had some days off and stuff like that. That Mufasa's coming back. Have you seen anything about that, Marvin?
I have not.
Okay.
I have not. Did it start to come back? I saw that it was up to like 60 million. So let me check Box Office Mojo right now to see how they performed up to now. So according to Box Office Mojo, in the latest dailies, Mufasa has hit domestically 64,376,120. It's almost up to 200 million because overseas has been so strong. Now Sonic has hit 88,000 domestic. Now, international has only pulled in 1.3 million since it just opened, and worldwide has 89,379,616.
Disney just has to face the fact they let out a stinker.
Angry.
You're still making the jokes.
Yes.
Do we know? I don't actually know this very well. Is Sonic internationally as popular as he is domestically? Is that something where?
Certainly in the Asian countries he is.
Yeah, just wait till he gets to Japan.
I would do a little pushback, and maybe I'm out of touch here, but I remember at least back in the day, Sonic was exponentially more popular in America. In fact, I believe in Japan, the demand for new Sonic games was arguably a lot more smaller quantity, because I know in the Saturn era, even going into that time period, there was the whole thing about Sonic Team working on nights instead of Sonic, and I think a lot of it also connected to what the demand was in the foreign country at the time. I could be wrong on that, but unless there's been a renaissance, I don't think Sonic has the same demand that it does in America.
So can we get a feel for what the previous Sonic movies did internationally? Can we forecast from that?
We can. Yes, I can tell you that right now. So Sonic the Hedgehog 1. Let's see, from 2020. Wow, that was only 2020. It's only okay. Sonic the Hedgehog 1 did $170,741,018 internationally for a gross worldwide of $319,715,683. And Sonic 2 did $214.5 million internationally for a worldwide total of $405.4 million. So we're looking at over 200 million worldwide.
And it was on an upward trajectory, so that's a good sign for this one.
Well, and this one's already, kicking some major butt at home. Now, yesterday, Christmas Day, was the first day that Mufasa actually edged it out. So
you're saying that Mufasa let it rip?
Oh God, Henry, you're killing me.
You see what I have to deal with on the genre, guys?
I love it.
Marvin, in your article, did you sneak in anything about the budgets on this?
Let me see. I know I had it in one of the articles, but I'm not sure which it is. So Sonic 3 budget, and Sonic 3 budget is much less than Mufasa's.
So it's not even a squeaker.
122 million for Sonic, which is up from the 90 million from Sonic 1 and 2. Mufasa budget is 200 million.
Holy cow.
Again, $200 million for this movie that nobody wanted.
Blue Ivy Carter comes at a cost, guys. She won't work for free. Beyonce and Jay-Z's daughter, please.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
being sarcastic, by the way.
They really need to let one go. They need to let. Yeah, it's just.
Damn it.
I do have to respect
Hangry, I want to let you
his
know, me and Martin have talked it over, and we're actually kicking you out of the Lost, guys. We hear one more fart pun.
All right, all right.
Nolan, we don't have the password to the streaming stuff. So.
I'm gonna make a real. I'm gonna make a real stink about that, Nolan. All right, I'm done. I'm done.
You do have to respect Jay-Z for giving his daughter the name of a Batman villain at birth.
I'm sorry, what is her name again?
Blue Ivy.
Oh God.
I'm pretty sure one of their kids is named Sir.
Sir.
All right, so one of my favorite parts of
It's ma'am. It's ma'am.
One of Jermaine Jackson's kid is named Your Majesty.
I know. That one always makes me giggle.
My favorite is still George Foreman, who named all his kids George. Even the girl named George.
Love it.
So he can always remember their names. So Disney was hit with a community note on X for declaring Mufasa the #1 movie in the world amid Sonic 3 domestic dominance. So yes, so here we have it right here. So Disney said the #1 movie in the world is hilarious and will take you on an epic adventure. Get tickets for #Mufasa the Lion King now, playing only in theaters. Readers added context they thought people might want to know. Full context required here. For domestic box office, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 claimed the #1 spot for December 20th to 22nd. However, in the international box office, Mufasa took #1, mainly because Sonic 3 hasn't opened in all international markets yet.
Say what you want about Elon. Community notes is the greatest thing ever because it's the most anti-corporation thing ever. It's so great.
I mean, I don't remember the last time I saw something as big as Disney get community noted.
Well, you could
that's
say
pretty
something about
crazy.
Sydney Sweeney's. Never mind.
Nope.
No, we cannot.
Do it.
The White House account gets community noted now and again.
Does it?
Mm-hmm.
What are we saying, Lauren?
It's not important. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So Pro had an article up yesterday. Disney bullies theaters, forcing Mufasa on more theaters than Sonic 3, even as the Hedgehog earns far more. So we see here, as the holiday season unfolds, the cinematic landscape reveals a familiar pattern, Disney flexing its box office muscles by dominating theater allocations. However, this year brings an unusual twist, as Sonic 3 has emerged as the unexpected box office leader. Unexpected for the media analysts, but not for you nor me, as Pro said, despite being hindered by Disney's theater allocation tactics. Disney's approach to holiday releases has long relied on securing the widest possible theater footprint. This strategy ensures that their films are accessible to the broadest audience, squeezing out competitors. Historically, this tactic has been highly effective. In '99, Toy Story 2 dominated Thanksgiving weekend with a record-breaking release in 3,236 theaters, setting a precedent for Disney's future holiday campaigns. Now, more recently, Moana 2 debuted in a staggering 4,200 theaters during Thanksgiving 2024, grossing $221 million in 5 days and contributing to the highest-grossing Thanksgiving weekend on record. Disney's control over theater allocations not only boosts revenue, but also limits the availability of screens for competing films, particularly during the lucrative holiday season. Now, despite Disney's dominance, Sonic 3 has managed to outpace the competition at the box office, raking in more than $60 million in its opening weekend and securing the top spot in North America. Yet, its success is overshadowed by a significant limitation: the inability to expand its theater count. This tweet here says, "Isn't it crazy that Sonic 1 had a complete rework, Sonic 2 filmed through COVID, and Sonic 3 filmed around an actors and writers strike, but still came out with an amazing trilogy? The odds against them, all odds against them, and they cooked." Now, currently showing in 3,769 locations, Sonic 3 faces a bottleneck caused by contractual obligations many theaters have with Disney for Mufasa. While Sonic 3 has provided far more revenue per theater, the total count of screens added for Sonic 3 from week 1 to 2 will be a staggering 8. Yes, 8 additional screens in the entire nation. Disney's agreements often stipulate extended runs in a higher number of theaters, leaving little room for other blockbusters to increase their reach. Despite being the second highest earner this season, Mufasa continues to occupy 4,100 locations, effectively stifling Sonic's ability to capitalize on its box office momentum. The scenario highlights the broader implications of Disney's theater saturation strategy. While the tactic maximizes Disney's box office returns, it also reshapes the competitive dynamics of the holiday season. Films like Sonic 3, which might otherwise expand their footprint to meet audience demand, are constrained by the lack of available screens. Theaters too face a dilemma. Disney's films often come with guarantees of high audience turnout, making them a safer bet for exhibitors. However, this reliance on Disney can lead to reduced diversity in movie offerings, limiting choices for moviegoers and opportunities for competing studios. The recent past is starting to have the same at AMC and Regal. It's starting to have some at AMC and Regal reconsider their House of Mouse relationships. As Sonic 3 continues to thrive against the odds, its success raises questions with the sustainability of Disney's dominance. And yes, it certainly does. Guys, that's pretty crazy that Disney does that. But I'm not shocked at all.
Well,
I think the key is, especially what you said at the end there, their future House of Mouse relations. You know, I think that's something you could actually hear investors bringing up at some of those meetings in the future.
Well, at what point do the theaters start to think, hey, look, Disney's been releasing more. I really wasn't going to make a joke, but it's coming out as a joke. They're really dropping more bombs than they are wins. And at what point do the theaters just kind of say, like, you know what, you can take your guaranteed number of screens and so on and so forth and take a walk.
Keep in mind, they're not hitting their Disney Plus ad targets either. And you have merchandise providers that are also looking at possibly pulling out of their contracts because they're not moving merchandise. Those are the things that I think are the real threats to Disney here, because as you're all saying, they're no longer seen as a reliable partner. And if people can get better returns for their ad dollars elsewhere, they will.
And, sorry, Disney's been no friend to theater owners too. You know, Disney, what in the early 2000s was all about the trying to get their films out, have them make the most amount of money in about 3 or 4 weeks, and then immediately throw them out on home video. And there was the theater owners who pushed back on that. Theater owners were also, again, not happy, you know, with the Disney Plus strategy of the same day release, even though, you know, they were still fighting COVID. So I can't imagine that their theater partners are going to tolerate this for much longer, because, like I said, Disney is not a reliable partner, and there kind of seems to be no end in sight. Disney got away to murder because, you know, they purchased their way into a dominating position with Marvel, and all the remakes. But, you know, them days are over.
Yep.
Lauren makes a really good point about the merchandising. Hasbro, which has the Marvel license, the Star Wars license, they used to be able to print money. Now they're dancing with bankruptcy. And I mean, to be fair, Hasbro's own upper management seems to be about as smart as a sack of hammers, but still, they are probably bleeding severely from all of those Riva action figures that are just like lining shelves at the moment, because no one wants to buy that stuff.
The company that has, go ahead, Lauren.
Not to mention the fallout that's happened with their gradual further wokenization of the Dungeons and Dragons products.
Oh, yeah.
Now, they seem to be doing better with like some of their HasLab stuff, like the Hero Quest revival, but there's all kinds of other properties. Their traditional products, the things that they would sell, their action figures, it's a dying niche. It's like kids don't play with those toys anymore to start with. And that just leaves you the collector market. And if the collectors are not buying into your product, what do you have to sell?
Well, it's more than that. The collectors are getting long in the tooth. In the next 10, 20 years, all of those collectors who like Transformers, who remember G.I. Joe, who, you know, are the original Star Wars fans and whatnot, they're going to be passing them along to their kids who are going to look at, you know, these storage lockers full of plastic and think like, what the heck am I going to do with all this?
Yeah.
which is going to lead to a flood on the secondhand market and a collapse of the value.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have a buddy who collects the Power Rangers Lightning Collection toys from Hasbro.
Oh, poor guy.
And they just discontinued those. And he was just telling me the other day, he was like, I wake up every morning and I look at my like display of Lightning Collection like teams, and I'm infuriated because I know that like I've got like there's like one Time Force Ranger, like never going to be able to complete the sets. I just got the Lightning Collection Power Sword for Christmas, and I have the Dragon Dagger, and I always like thought like, hey, I'll get all of the weapons. That's not going to happen anymore.
Yeah, I do have all of the weapons except for the
bow didn't come out,
the
right?
axe and the bow that you needed to complete it all.
Yeah.
So now I'm looking at these things. I'm like, well, what the heck do I do with these? I might as well just sell them off, right?
It's like being a George R.R. Martin fan.
Yes.
It's like I'm more of a higher end collector a little bit, you know. It's like I kind of invested in replica props and stuff. Do you guys remember Master Replicas?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've got a master replica of the Millennium Falcon from The Empire Strikes Back. It's like I think it's like 3 or 4 feet across, with Harrison Ford's signature on the plaque, and it's an artist proof. And it's like, I don't even know if that thing's going to be worth anything anymore. And it's not like I collected it for the value, but it's wild to think that nobody cares anymore, you know. And once upon a time, that would have been the centerpiece of somebody's collection.
Yep.
I think in a lot of ways the collector market itself was it was given this big boost by people who thought it could be investments and not just a labor of love, because things like baseball rookie cards or Action Comics #1 were going for these huge numbers. And then, like, the comic book industry was like, oh, okay, well, we're going to do this. We're going to do Death of Superman. We're going to do 16 variants. And everybody was going to buy, like, 5 copies of them. And they, sold more copies of Death of Superman than they sold, like, issues of everything the year before. Well, those are never going to be worth anything because Action Comics 1 was worth something because all these servicemen went overseas and mom threw away their comic books while they were out.
I have a buddy who owns a comic book store, and he said at least once a week, some guy comes in and he's just like, oh, like expected, like he thinks he's gonna walk out with like thousands of dollars because he's like, I've got the Death of Superman in the bag with the armband, and he's just like, yeah, that's worthless.
It's like, sorry, but you didn't open the bag. That's slimy green dust.
Yeah.
Martin, you're still going to buy that crate of tulip bulbs you promised to purchase, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if you ain't Dutch, you ain't much.
Also, the simple fact is that whenever it comes to collecting anything, it needs the brand to be healthy in order for that item to be worth anything. I'll use an example of stuff that actually is at pretty high price right now. Take like Nintendo stuff, going back to some of those new in-box NESs, Super Nintendos, a lot of the rarer GameCube games that, note here, did not sell very well. Those are actually highly sought after, and you're going to have to pay big money at a convention or eBay or whatever have you. Star Wars used to be to where you could drop $200 on something, but you do a few bad movies in there and completely abandon your fans, that is going to evaporate just as quick as those movies come out. It's as simple as that.
It's the goodwill factor. Goodwill will endure a lot. Well, once it's gone, and you're not getting it back anytime soon.
I am so depressed at the state of what Hasbro has done with Power Rangers, and like basically the comics are done. They're not making any more series. They're selling off all the assets. Like, it's so depressing.
I can't believe we live in a world where Hasbro will probably go bankrupt before Mattel. How did that happen?
Well, and Hasbro was about to gobble up Mattel. I kept joking Hasbro's actual corporate slogan was "Till all are one," because they just took everything. And now it's like, well, now we've got
A.W. Neckbeard said he started selling off his Transformers collection and has made $8,000 on it so far.
Hey, congrats!
So there's still a market.
Wow. Well, the thing with Power Rangers and Hasbro too is that it shouldn't have happened. Hasbro, when they got the license, they moved one of their top creatives, a man by the name of John Warden, over from the Transformers franchise, which he completely revitalized, into Power Rangers. And so you've basically got this guy whose expertise is transforming robots going into a new franchise which has all these amazing transforming robots in it. You would think that there would be like I honestly don't know what happened with the Lightning Collection. Like on paper that thing should have succeeded, and yet it just I mean, a lot of it I think was Hasbro not knowing what to do with it, and that is very, very surprising coming from a company which specializes in developing these types of franchises. Like I really am. I see Kevin, you got your finger up.
No, I think it's funny that we're having.
I'm not pulling your finger.
I think it's funny that we're having this conversation. I was just talking about stuff like this last week with my friend who I refer to as the principal because he's a principal. I think the collector's market created a self-fulfilling prophecy because these things are so overpriced. You can't hand them down to kids. So, and especially we're in an era that does not have Saturday morning cartoons. So there is no commercial to pull these kids in. So everything, the fandom has to get handed down directly. But one, the figures are entirely too hard to find. They're just entirely too hard to find. They're entirely too much money. So, and now because you can't find them and they're already too much money, you're paying a small ransom to get it from a third party vendor, or you have to put in an exorbitant bid on the on the main corporate site. Where they're essentially robbing you. Say, hey, do you want this new shiny thing you need to complete your collection? Give us $80. And if we get enough of you to give us $80, we're going to charge you $120 to get it all. But wait, if you give us $500, we'll give you a really big ship too.
Yeah.
So it's like you put everybody in a really bad position. And it's like you stop treating your base like customers and started treating them like consumers.
Well, Nolan, I saw your comment there about how you think everything fell apart due to the 2017 movie. Am I the only one who actually didn't think that movie was that bad? I mean, obviously since it bombed, but
when I saw it, I didn't hate it.
The Power Rangers movie, like, I mean, it had its flaws, especially like the Megazord and all of that. But I
Goldar,
Goldar. But I mean, I thought they had cast the characters pretty well. I wasn't against the more sci-fi alien-esque types of costumes. It was serviceable, I thought, and I don't think it shouldn't have done as poorly as it did.
I agree.
Ryan Damon is saying that the movie didn't really bomb, but it didn't do well. Yeah, fair enough.
This is what I would always say to Marv. It was a good movie, but it had no business being The Dark Knight.
Yes.
Sometimes you just gotta
with the most
goofy. You gotta let the goofy thing be the goofy thing.
The most obvious product placement in the world with the Krispy Kreme stuff. Oh my god. So heavy-handed.
Nothing is ever going to be more obvious than Man of Steel and IHOP.
Oh gosh, when they crashed into the IHOP, yes, that was. They mentioned it like 3 times.
Other than the big Coca-Cola billboard,
IHOP was there with their $3.99 pancakes. This is why I quite saw it.
All right. Let's see. We got a few super chats, and then I think we're going to end a little early this week, guys. I know Lauren has to go, and I'm just feeling completely out of it. So, John Williams of 499 says Sonic is more popular in America than Japan. They even have a joke in Sonic X that Sonic randomly talks in English to reference this. You know what's funny? When my younger brother and I, we were never allowed to say Sonic X to each other. We always had to go Sonic X. We had to sing it at all times because the theme song was so catchy to that show. Alejandro Melendez says Vincent Kennedy McMahon says there's a woman who farts on people. Where is she? I must meet her.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about poor Daddy having the toot gimmick.
Did she have a toot gimmick?
They made her a nervous tutor.
And it's like, how utterly debasing and embarrassing
Like,
is
She'd be
that?
in what way is that going to move money?
It's
She'd be in the
not.
middle of a conversation
Bruce
and everyone
Pritchard-
looked like the one to throw up.
Bruce Pritchard always said that, like, oh, everything Vince did had a money, had some kind of money thing like attached to it. Where's the money coming from there?
Fetishists on DeviantArt.
I guess so. John Williams for $9.99 says, sad fact, the only reason Hasbro brought Power Rangers was because the toys were outselling their stuff. Around 2017, would not be surprised if Takara refused to help because Super Sentai is like a rival brand. I wouldn't be shocked if Haim Saban for the second time now buys it back for less money than he sold it for.
How old is he now?
I am immortal.
I am immortal by the power of money that I give to no one else. They just produced Cosmic Fury was the first ever Power Rangers show completely produced in North America. No Sentai footage, I think, except for the Megazord battles. And yeah, I didn't see it. I was trying to watch Dino Force first, and I couldn't get through it. And I can only imagine Haim Saban having an absolute heart attack. Like, do you remember Mystic Knights of Tir-na-nog?
Yes.
That was a Saban show. How the hell did that get made? It was filmed on location in Scotland. No Sentai footage. Like, he must have gotten the bill for that. We're like, what are you doing?
So to follow this up, I'd just like to point out, Saban is now 80 years old.
Wow.
Mr. Jamie Jam88 for $4.99 says 2025 Sega already coming out strong with the next Like a Dragon Yakuza game coming out in February, which involves pirates. And then Tyler Golosinski checking in. Should we be surprised with Harley Quinn's treatment? They hated her for being attractive and for having a relationship with the Joker when both are villains, so we must redeem her and make her a lesbian for her redemption. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Not wrong. All right, guys, we need to head out, though. We are ending a little early this week. I appreciate everybody that super chatted, everyone that chatted. I appreciate our wonderful panel here. Lauren, I know you got to go, so let's outro you first. Tell the good folks where they can find you and they want to hear more from you.
You can find me on WDW Stream pretty often. You can find me on The Genre Guys, reviewing movies with Lou Wasserman's Ghost and A Hangry Table down there at the bottom there. You can find me on X at Lauren Connor or at YouTube at Lauren Connor 9030.
Thank you very much, Lauren. We love you here on this show, and you are a valued member of the Tooney Talk Titans. Hangry Table, where can folks find out more about you and what you're up to?
Well, Lauren stole all my thunder. No. We do The Genre Guys, and then I am blessed to be able to do The Lost Guys with Mr. Martin Stone and Nolan Thunder, and now Trish, who's been coming more and more. So I'm very happy about that.
Recurring guest star.
I also do.
The name of the Genre Guys and Trish.
Or we're gonna be the genre. We're gonna be the genre they thems.
Oh no,
that's right. Get those pronouns right.
You're not affiliated with me.
I just kind of bop around here and there. I do some member spotlights for Pro as well. So if anyone is listening and would ever like to be featured on the member exclusive content for WDW Pro's channel in a casual interview, then let me know.
Those interviews are great. Kevin and I have both done them. They're super fun. You are a great interviewer, Angry.
Tell me more.
No, I will not. I'm not
fluffing no more.
Yeah, I'm not fluffing your ego anymore. Martin Stone, where can folks find out more about you and what you do?
Well, I hang out with Hangry and Nolan and often Trish these days doing The Lost Guys. We cover all sorts of stuff, theme songs, books, movies, basically anything that Hangry can't get Lauren or Lou to watch.
The B Team.
How dare you?
My favorite, the what I'm the most proud of, just to jump in really quick, is the fact that we were able to get a Genre Guys, Lost Guys crossover to do Battlefield Earth.
That is pretty cool.
Kevin's face. I looked right at you, Kevin. I knew.
Yeah,
One of
those
those that should
suckers
have
watched.
remained lost.
Those suckers watched it in its original form. I watched it with riff tracks.
Nolan Thunder, you are killing it over there on YouTube with your video game content. So why don't you tell good folks more about that?
Oh, thank you very much. Always appreciated. Well, I have a video coming out here and going to be coming out in early 2025. I'm going to be talking about an evil artificial intelligence built into a Mario game. It's a mix of a documentary, B-movie horror, and comedy. So if you like that sort of thing, I've been putting out some recent trailers here on my channel. So if it seems like something that interests you, please check out my YouTube series, Lost in the Files. Takes a lot of time to make, but I really hope the production is worth it. It's got a lot that goes into it, and I hope you enjoy it.
All right, Trish, anything you got to plug this week?
Well, besides hanging out with my guys Nolan Martin and Suspicious Ottoman, it's here or Crime and Punishment.
Which I gotta upload that. I gotta upload that next episode.
Should I not say what the next one is, or should I?
No, go ahead and say. Go ahead and say what the next one is. Yeah.
It actually might lead into another one because there's a little bit of a connection between the two, but it's going to be the. I feel so bad saying it like this. The Murder of Dorothy Stratton.
Okay.
I know you have no idea what that means, but
I have no idea what that means.
Someone out there might.
So. Okay.
Oh, you know
yeah,
what?
That is member exclusive content. What was that, Kev?
I said, you know what would be a fun super crossover event? Is you guys talking about the impetus for Crazy Train?
The song?
Yeah, because you know what that's about, right? It's about a
I mean, I probably heard it.
Is
but
it?
It's like...
Yeah, it's about a serial killer train conductor.
Oh, that's crazy.
Wait. How have I never heard of this?
It's Casey Jones.
Bring the Grateful Dead into it.
It's going to sound absolutely fake, but it's true. This train conductor was like a freakishly large human. He would stop into towns, break into a home, murder the family, and keep it going. And the police could not figure out what the connection was until they realized, no, wait, it seems to be like anytime this train stops, there's a murder. And they tried to track him down for a year. And then he finally broke into a house. Cops were there. He gets away. And then it ends in this spectacular train crash where they never recovered his body.
Little did you know that this was actually the inspiration for Shining Time Station. No, I'm kidding.
But how did they learn how to love and forget how to hate?
Kevin Apollo, anything you got to plug?
This weekend will be Santa Slam 3 Spring Breakout. And if you're going to pop over to the ACW Instagram, ACW_Coliseum, COLOSSEUM. That's right, Pokemon Coliseum style. I'll be live streaming starting at probably around 2:00. That's at the end of the show. And then I have written out a couple of rants finally to get filmed. I'll probably do that on Monday, and then I'll see you on Monday for the members only
live stream. Yeah,
and then I know you won't be next week for the New Year's Eves.
I know you won't. Yeah, we got to figure that out. I know you won't be there on Saturday for Tooney Town Wrestling because I think we're gonna live stream during the AEW pay per view and torture ourselves. I'm sure you're just terribly sad that you're gonna miss that. But
I'm so sad. Hey, if you guys want, you can just stream my show.
we should check in with your show every once in a while. Like just check in on the stream just to see how much better it is. If you're still running during the AEW show, I might have to do that. But guys, if you have not checked out over on Tooney Town Wrestling, we just posted a Tooney Town Wrestling Christmas special. It's written. It's 16 minutes, written completely in rhyming verse, and features 2 song parodies. It was my gift to the Tooney Town community for Christmas. And next year's Christmas special will air on Tooney Town TV because it will be a Tooney Town TV-esque topic. So
you already know.
I already do. There's a post-credit scene that we tease the sequel. So you guys could go check that out over at Tooney Town Wrestling. All right. From all of us here at the Tooney Town channels, I'm Marvin the Movie Monster. Now get out of here!
Now, bury the platypus, feel the wrath of my thank you-inator! Thank you, you piece of trash.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you! Oh, I suppose you want me to say thank you. Well, you know what? Saying thank you is like jobbing.
Thank you!
I got a little message. Thank you. Ooh, yeah.
Oh, thank you! Oh, thank you! Thank you! Thank you! Thank you! Thank you!
Thanks? For what? Hi-ho from all of us here at Tooney Town. Thank you!
And viewers like you. Thank you.